Join discord.gg/flat earth and enter a VC check-in room, and someone will come along to VC verify you to get involved with the conversation about our Earth.
Enemy spotted.
Built like a bean, Deuce and McChicken.
Hey kiddo, there's no missing information. I promise you, there's no missing information here. Go and fill your bathtub up and tell me if there's any curvature on the surface of the water in your bathtub.
Not by human measurement.
Right. It's not measurable.
Curvature.
Because it's not measurable. Curvature is not measurable. You cannot measure something that isn't there. And when water seeks its level on the surface in your bathtub, in a puddle, in a pond, in a lake, and all the way across the 7 seas, that's level, and level doesn't curve. That's 70. Hold on, don't cut me off. I wasn't done, buddy. I wasn't done. Okay, that is 71% of the Earth's surface. It is level. It is water. Do you understand?
Yep.
Yes. So therefore, there's no more argument. The surface of water, 71% of the Earth on the surface is water, and it's level. That's what the physics of water does. Therefore, it does not curve. And you understand this.
Yeah.
So therefore, there is no curvature, correct?
No. Because if you take a picture of the ocean and you scrunch it down, like if you okay, this is a stupid.
That's in Photoshop. You can take a flat line in Photoshop and do the same thing.
Blocking meme and scrunch it down to like really scrunch it, and you can actually see a very clear curve.
Yeah, but does that mean that there's a curve of the Earth, or does that mean that there's a curve of the lens when the picture was taken?
That's definitely lens curvature.
Let me explain something to you, mate. You just said now because you've got a photo, you're seeing left to right curvature. So if you turn around 90 degrees and you see left and right curve, I'm not finished. If you turn around 90 degrees and see left to right curvature again, are you going to see 2 humps? Where do these lines intersect?
Huh?
If you see left to right curvature with your photo that you're saying, if you scrunch it up, left to right curvature, then you turn that camera 90 degrees, you take a photo of again and you scrunch it up and you've got left to right curvature. How do these lines meet up 360 degrees around?
Haven't seen that.
Well, of course, because it doesn't exist. You're saying you see left to right curvature. Now think about it. Turn 180 degrees around, you see left to right curvature. You've got 2 lines dipping on either side. Where do the lines meet up and make a circle? They make a lot of hills, don't they? If you're saying you see left to right curvature, then you're saying as we turn around on the horizon, we're seeing hills with lines that meet up with each other. I call it McDonald's Earth. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
You do understand that. So how can you see left to right curvature? Is this possible in any scenario?
Hey, good evening, everybody. I just have a real quick question. I'm at work right now, so I don't have long to.
1 second, mate. Sorry. You there, buddy?
What?
Do you understand what I'm saying about the McDonald's Earth?
Yeah, I hear you, but
So can you admit that you cannot see left to right curvature no matter what?
no, because if you take a picture of the Earth and you scrunch it up, I'll see if I can do that in my images or something.
Listen, you need to think about this. You're taking a photo of left to right curvature. You're taking a photo You're scrunching it up. It's got left to right curvature. You turn the camera around, you take a photo, and it's got left to right curvature. The two lines that are dipping at the end, that are the curvature, the low spot, how do they meet up with the other side that's 180 degrees on the other side? It's an impossible thing.
Timbo, you should have Ty look at the chat.
Bruh.
I've been posting some compressed images that show curvature. Maybe Ty.
Come on,
In
man.
a court of
Oh,
law,
come on,
do you
man.
think that it's evidence to manipulate a picture and present that as a fact?
Nope, that's forged evidence. They call it forged, falsified. It's you can actually end up in a lot of trouble for that.
Yeah.
Well,
Babe, built like a
Why
bean.
the-
Didn't you? Do you need to take a little break and think about a few things?
Bruh.
Because someone jumped in before and wanted to ask a question. He said he didn't have much time, so maybe we'll move on to him and we'll come back to you in a minute, Bean. Do you want to just digest a few things and maybe do a little bit of research and come back in with another couple of questions?
Before we let him go, I just wanted to reiterate that, young man, you did in fact concede to the fact, you agreed to the fact that water is level, not curving on its surface, and that 71% of this Earth surface is water. Therefore, you have no more argument. And that's all I'm going to say.
Cool. Who jumped in? Who jumped in before and had that question?
Andrew's
Oh, this is Andrew.
Oh, hey,
talking
Andrew.
to you
Sorry
guys.
about that, mate.
Hello,
Alright.
Andrew.
We're in the middle of
hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just hopped in for a little bit while I'm on break now at work. And
Oh, you wanted to ask the young guy a question?
Well, I'm just curious about what his age is.
He's
13.
Well, you sound pretty intelligent for your age, so congratulations. So you're listening to a very detailed, complex conversation that I think you're going to learn quite a bit from. So that's awesome. And then my last question before I have to just basically go on mute is I'm on my phone right now because I'm at work, and I am using Discord on my phone, which I don't like to do. Has anyone else had audio issues using a phone?
Sometimes it'll just stop. So you just every now and again you gotta log out and then log back in.
Well, no, I mean like audio in the
Do
sense
that for
of
me. I guess I just nerve.
If your Wi-Fi has poor signal, like if you're at work and you're on a work Wi-Fi and they have limited strength, then you can have dropped moments. If you're not connected to Wi-Fi, you could have intermittent moments where you're not getting connection.
Well, when I say audio issues, I mean when I have the audio completely turned up and there's no interruption issues, I have to actually put in like earbuds and turn the volume all the way up just to hear anything that's happening in Discord.
Oh, you mean
that might be
you're listening to it on the speaker, on the phone speaker?
Yeah. Do you change it to speaker?
There's a button. If you press the one that looks like a Bluetooth button down the bottom of the screen. So click on the screen, and then there's a Bluetooth button. That'll bring up all of your speakers that are connected, and there'll be one that says loudspeaker, and then there'll be one that says phone.
Okay, gotcha.
If you're on
I've been
phone,
having to
it's
put my earbuds in to try and listen in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. That's all I was calling in. And the young gentleman that's here right now, please never work for NASA.
Hey Ty, just a quick shout out to you, man. I want to thank you for being a part of the conversation and listening to what we have to say. I know it can be tough, especially when you're 13. And don't take anything don't think that we're mad at you or anything if we kind of like raise our voice or something like that. And we'll we don't think you're mad at us more than anything. We would think that you were mad at like Like maybe we don't understand what you're saying, but we do understand what you're saying. We were all there. We all went to the same. We all went to school. We all learned about the globe. We all believed the globe. So I appreciate you sticking in here and having this conversation with us. So anybody else wants to talk?
Yeah, I'm just going to try and bring someone else into the conversation. So we'll see what they're about. So Deuce, are you there?
Me?
No, 1 second, mate. We'll get back to
Yeah.
Bean. Deuce, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah, no worries. Welcome to the server, mate. Are you on the globe or the flat side?
Well, COVID kind of sparked a lot of interest for me.
We don't mention that word on here, but
Oh, sorry.
yeah, just before you go ahead, mate, I'll just because I shouldn't have done that, but I unmuted you on the live. We got some rules here, so we're just going to talk about flat Earth, globe Earth, and stick to those subjects. And what I'll do is I'll send you a link to the rules. So maybe read the rules and terms of services for Discord. And just for now, we're just going to stick to the topic of flat Earth, globe Earth. All right.
Gotcha. Sorry about that.
Yes, mate. No, you're all right. You're all right. All good.
Yeah, no. I've been dabbling around in the flat side for a little bit now.
Cool. What's your best proof?
Are you from the
I don't know.
States?
It's just none of the round stuff makes any sense.
Okay, well we've got a young glober in here at the moment. Do you want to tell him how you came across flat Earth and what doesn't make sense?
Well, yeah. I mean, y'all brought up a good point about the water always finding its level. I mean, that's just proof in itself, really. So there's no way you can have level all the way across the round ball and it just not go somewhere, one direction or the other.
What do you say about that, Bean? You have an argument for water not being level, Bean?
Bean? Oh.
Yeah, I'm not going to say built like a bean. I'm just going to call you Bean, mate.
Well, yeah, you got Bean, or we can call you Ty. Ty is his screen name thing.
Do you look like a bean?
I'm a little chubby,
bro. Your Discord name is Boss, dude.
Bill?
I love it.
Thanks. Anyway.
Yeah, do you have a rebuttal
Discord
for
is telling me I had to
water
change it.
Do you have a rebuttal for the water not being flat and level? Bean?
No, I guess not.
Yeah, just keep in mind, if you did have an argument against water being level, you'd end up arguing against yourself because you already agreed and understood that water finds its level on the surface 71% of the Earth.
All right, so now we've worked out that there's no measurable curvature and water is level. Have you ever experienced axial rotation, or has anyone ever measured axial rotation or the orbit of the Earth around the Sun?
Yeah, we have a number for it.
No,
I don't have it off the top of my head, but we have a number for.
Yeah, I know we have an imaginary made-up number, but has anyone ever measured this?
Yeah, it's 365 days. That's the real number.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really just saying, "Hey, I've been around the sun this amount of times."
Yeah, but that's what I'm
How do you
saying.
know that
Is there any
level?
evidence that the Earth is rotating, and is there any evidence that the Earth rotates, that orbits around the Sun? So let's start with: is there any evidence for axial rotation of the Earth?
Well, if there wasn't, that would mean we're just facing the sun constantly in one direction, and the days would be exactly 1 year long.
Why would you say that?
model. Well, because that would be the only time the sun would be facing a different side of the planet. If it was only facing one side, that side would be
What are sides? What
well
are sides?
the face facing the sun on the heliocentric model. If it did not move, if it just never spun at all, well, if you put your finger and you roll it around and you put it around the ball and you don't move your finger or twist your finger, then but it,
Okay, so you're
hold on,
saying
I messed up. I
you're
messed
saying
up
the
something
sun.
there.
You're saying the sun is this massive thing in outer space, and we rotate around it. Therefore, that proves the Earth's rotation and orbit.
Yeah, if we go
You're
around it
just
as
kind of reifying. What I'm asking for is, so the Earth is supposed to be rotating like an axial rotation of around about 1,000 miles per hour at the
or
equator.
really 0.
Now,
0.002 RPM, but okay.
yeah, but that doesn't really matter. We're talking about speed and not revolutions. So, revolutions and speed are not the same thing, because you can have something that is
RPM
a
is
clock.
rolls per minute.
Well, it's revolutions, mate. So
Going by linear speed,
what's
yes,
the
technically
linear?
would be
How do you
1,000.
get linear speed on a globe?
Well, if you're
Remember, you're going around in a circle, so there's constant acceleration. So there's no such thing as a linear speed on a globe.
it's like being in a vehicle. If you're driving,
Nope.
well, you feel
Nope.
pressure
Nope.
until you get to that exact speed, and
It's
then you
not.
feel nothing. You don't feel. It's
He
not like
just
you're constantly being pushed at 60 miles an hour when you're driving down 60 miles an hour.
he just
On a
addressed
curve.
this. It's not linear speed. It's acceleration. Spinning
There is
around
no
is
acceleration.
acceleration. Wrong. Rotation is acceleration.
Yep, you're constantly changing direction.
Yep.
It actually does it very slowly.
So it
What,
accelerates
1,000
very
miles per
slowly.
hour?
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Timmy.
I guess we have
No,
like
you're right.
a pole, I don't know, 9 Earths long. And you put it on the Earth, then you'd probably feel some speed as it rotates. You'd probably feel like a little bit of a jerk, maybe, because of how
So
slow it rotates.
let's use your example,
You would
Ty.
technically be moving at insane speeds, but in real life, you would just kind of inching along, really.
So instead of that car, let's take the roof off, right? Because there's no containment on Earth. So now
Mm-hmm.
we need a drop top, and now we're going 60 miles per hour, and we're changing that speed as we're going along a curve while we're spinning and rotating. So don't you feel like you'll feel that?
Yeah, I'd be getting thrown against a wall, and because you'd be spinning very fast. The Earth does not spin very fast.
But we're
1,000
also
miles per
changing
hour?
speeds and velocities while going along a curve. So while in acceleration, we're actually decelerating and accelerating, going along a curve. Wouldn't you
Going
think
on a
you
curve,
would
yeah, it
feel
should feel
that?
like you're getting thrown against the wall a little bit.
So the physics say you should feel things that's changing acceleration. Do you agree?
Yeah. But if you take a very small turn constantly, you're not really gonna feel that.
Hold on. As we're rotating 24 hours a day at 1,000 miles per hour, then we're orbiting the sun at an average of 67,000 miles per hour, and that changes. Then the solar system is shooting through space at 500,000 miles per hour, and the entire galaxy is going 1.3 million miles per hour. And that's a local scale. All of these motions and movements. Do you feel any of that?
Nope. Because we've been going at those exact speeds for however knows long.
Hold on.
No,
Yeah,
Exact
you're
speed.
not thinking about the.
Constant acceleration can't have an exact speed.
Yeah.
it changes. So you would want to say it's in exact speed because that would make sense to you. But when you look at it in detail with an honest eye, you realize that they're not exact speeds. So logically speaking, if you are honest and unbiased, because that's what science is, unbiased, you would say, hey, this doesn't match the prediction.
Well, you're talking a lot about how we can't detect motion, but is there any way that we can?
I'm pretty sure there's this one type of, I forget the name for it, but like it sways back and forth.
Yeah, you're talking
Foucault's
about
pendulum.
Foucault's pendulum.
Pendulum, yeah.
So that's supposed to be showing Coriolis effect.
Yeah.
So how many reference frames is the Earth and the Atmo? Is the Earth spinning together with the Atmo?
The Earth
Yeah,
spinning. What?
Does the Atmo spin together with
I
the Earth? Is it all rotating together?
I guess so. I'm not
We
exact.
we
I'm not.
we don't
I
we
don't
don't
know a lot
say
about that actually.
we don't say atmosphere because there's no sphere.
Yeah,
It's just air.
I picked up on that.
Okay.
Right. So the Foucault's pendulum shows is supposed to show the Earth rotating under the pendulum. Now, if this was a thing and this was actually happening, then everything that was not connected to the Earth would rotate. The Earth would rotate underneath it. So, besides Foucault's pendulum, do you see this happening anywhere else on the Earth?
Maybe I probably shouldn't bring up the pendulum because I actually don't know a lot about it or how it
Yeah,
works.
we can go into that, but it's a bit silly. So we can explain it to you later. But it's showing that the Earth's rotating under a pendulum while it swings. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be showing. Now, for that to be the case, everything else that is not connected to the Earth, that is not attached, it would have the same effect. So, is there anything else that shows this effect?
No,
Okay.
I'm assuming not.
So in nature, can't be observed, but man-made device picks up rotation of Earth.
Guess
So
so.
it doesn't, but we can explain that. We can explain why it doesn't. But...
Hey, Todd, do you believe that if I set up the pendulum and left it alone, it'll start to process on its own since the Earth is spinning? Do you believe that should happen?
Like I said, I probably shouldn't bring up a pendulum because I don't know how they work or what they do really, or
Well,
why they show it.
just take an educated guess, because that's how science works, right? The first person that set up the pendulum had to go through the scientific process. So what would be your hypothesis? What would be your prediction? If you set up the pendulum and left it by itself when it's supposed to establish its own frame of reference from the spinning Earth, do you believe that it should eventually start to process on its own if it was in a contained environment?
No, it should spin with the Earth, in my prediction.
So then it's still within the same frame of
it'll
reference.
just stop swaying, actually. So
shouldn't it start swaying if it's establishing its own frame of reference from the Earth?
I feel like the only way you could show curvature from the Earth by having a pendulum or something would be having something that is not connected to the Earth.
Well, this is about motion, not curvature.
that's not about curvature.
Yeah, this is about motion. So the way the pendulum works is supposed to establish its own frame of reference from the moving Earth. So if it's establishing its own frame of reference, that means the Earth is supposed to move below it, beneath it, which means if we're standing on Earth, we should see the pendulum move. because the Earth is moving beneath it. You understand?
He
Yeah.
did hit the nail on the head too. He said that, okay, the only way to prove it would be if something is not connected to the Earth. So therefore, we have
Yeah.
planes, helicopters, and stuff like that. So do they show that these do they show these things happening?
Like when a
They're
helicopter
still
hovers.
kind of technically connected to the Earth
Yo,
What do you
because
mean?
B.
like they're still spinning with the Earth. Like
Okay, so then
when they're
the
on the ground, they're
pendulum.
moving with the Earth. And when you fly like if you were in a truck and you flew a drone and had it fly around the truck, it wouldn't like, slam into the wall, would it? No, because it's
Yeah,
moving
but
with it
that's what we're
as.
saying. So you're saying that things that are not connected to the Earth should. So if the pendulum is true, then things not connected to the Earth should show the same effects as the pendulum. Then you say, but the atmosphere is moving with the Earth. So what is the pendulum showing?
I'm not sure. I don't know a lot about the pendulum. I've already said this.
Jimbo,
Yo, B.
I posted that globe Earth with a plane going around it. What that's in reality what it should be looking like for these guys, and that Earth would be moving underneath that plane just like that. That's why it doesn't do that.
Well, if helicopters are rotating together with the Earth and anything that leaves the surface is rotating with the Earth because the whole atmosphere is rotating with it, then you've debunked the pendulum. The
Think
pendulum isn't
so?
showing Coriolis effect. You can't have Coriolis effect with just one rotating reference frame. It requires two. There has to be a rotating frame and one that isn't rotating. If it's all rotating, there's no Coriolis, and so the pendulum is debunked.
Ty, if I told you that there was a mechanical mechanism within the pendulum to make it move, would you consider that evidence of the Earth moving?
No, because the mechanical thing moved it.
That's how the pendulum
Exactly.
works.
That's an honest answer. Thank you.
Yeah, that's an honest answer, bro. So that's how the pendulum works. There's an actual mechanism inside that makes it move. That's
A
why I was
motor.
asking. Yeah, there's a motor.
So it's less of proof and more of an example.
It actually runs off magnets, a magnetic motor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's more of an example of how it works.
How
Well,
it.
no,
Yeah,
that's
It's
how.
more of a parlor trick to make you think that
yeah.
it's actually happening.
Like
Right.
here's another thing to think about. Like if the Earth were spinning, the pendulum should, if you leave it alone, it should begin to spin on its own. Would that be a better way to explain the spin of the Earth? Wouldn't that be a better example? Because it should start spinning on its own because it's the Earth is spinning. So if the Earth is causing the pendulum to rotate, then the pendulum should rotate and spin on its own, or rotate and move on its own.
That would make helicopters and aeroplanes. That would put them in the same boat as well.
Yeah. Like if a
So
helicopter floated up in the air and hovered for 3 hours, 3 hours later, in Los Angeles, 3 hours later, it should land in like Tennessee.
yeah, I think even hot air balloon's probably a better example.
Well, if you have a drone and you fly it up in a truck, like I said, and you have it stay there, the exact same thing, let's say it has infinite battery or something, in a truck, and you're driving exactly 60 miles an hour, and once you hit 60 miles an hour is when you fly it up. Is it going to start moving back?
Yeah, because the drone's fixed to a position on the ground and stick to that position. That's how they hover.
It's also very odd that when they do things like rocket science, they always use the Earth as the frame of reference instead of like the sun, since we're supposed to be going around the sun. All their math is based off the frame of reference of the Earth.
Yeah, what's it called? Earth center, Earth fixed.
I don't know. I just know that's what they do. Their entire math is based off the centering off of Earth, even though Earth is supposed to be going around the sun, and so technically the fixed point should change, from day to day.
All right.
But
So now we've been through water is level, no measured curvature, can't measure axial rotation. What's next, guys?
gas pressure without a container or
How
without
about
containment.
why does the moon seem like it
No.
flips whenever you go from the northern to southern thing? Because one time I saw a video, it's a recording of the moon on a flight, and it looks like it just turns upside down whenever they go from Australia to somewhere else. The moon
Oh, I
looks
don't
upside
remember
down in
The
Australia.
needle in the sky that keeps turning.
that.
For
Sorry?
the same reason, when you look south, the stars look like they're going one way, and when you look north, it looks like you're going another way.
Like Ty, if I went in front of you and I put a number 6 on the ground in front of you, what would it look like to me?
It looked like a 9 because that's a flat piece of paper. But if you put a ball, the number 6 on it, like if you put like a ball on your ceiling
We only see one side of it. How you know if it's
that's
filled?
facing directly to the ground, and you went to the other side of that ball, you would see the other side of the ball, not just an upside down view of what you just saw.
We always see only one side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we only
Only
see one
ever.
because that's the only side that's facing the Earth. In a flat plane, if it was above you, if the moon was above you and you only see one side of it, then surely you would be able to go to the other side of the
Anyway,
moon.
it wouldn't matter. If you're on a flat plane or a ball, the moon does what it does anyway. So we're trying to determine the surface of the Earth. So it
So
doesn't really matter. It doesn't like it doesn't matter. We're not talking about the moon being a ball or the moon being flat because we can't go there and work it out. I know you're going to say yes, we've been there, but we haven't. So we're just trying to determine the
I'm gonna
surface
say
of the
that
Earth.
because I know
We've
you just call that fake. That's such
yeah,
a
okay,
thing to say.
Yeah, we've
okay, all
lost
right,
all the technology.
yeah.
yeah,
So
I believe that
Jenna
was
took you through. Jenna
right.
took you
it's too
through water.
dangerous.
Jenna took you through water. We confirmed that water's flat. We confirmed that you can't measure curvature of the Earth. We confirmed that you can't measure axial rotation. Coriolis effect either exists or it doesn't, but we worked out that it doesn't. So we're talking about everything that we're talking about is the surface of the Earth. You know why we do that? Because we're here on the surface of the Earth, and we can actually do experiments and confirm that these things that are happening exist and how they exist. So with the moon and stuff like that, we're just we're going to look past that for the moment. Now, they claim that we live in an open system that's open to a vacuum. We have gas pressure that sits next to a vacuum. Now, in order for us to believe this, we'd have to have some type of demonstration that you can have gas pressure next to a container, next to a vacuum, uncontained. So, do we have any demonstrations of this? Or is this possible? What happens to gas when what happens to high pressure gas when you open it up to lower pressure gas? What happens to the high pressure
It
gas?
goes into that gas.
It goes into the lower pressure.
It expands in all directions.
Yep.
Yeah. So we have an open container next to the vacuum of space. How do we have gas pressure? How are you breathing? Thanks, Platter.
Well, your lungs, they expand, which creates
Hmm.
Yeah,
somewhat of a vacuum, so more air wants to rush into there, and more air does.
But you have
but
14.
how? Where's the air come from? Sorry.
You have you,
The
no. You
outside
have
of your mouth or
you
nose.
have you have
No.
14.7 psi air pressure that you're breathing in.
I guess so. But it's
14
also
pounds
the
per
same
square inch.
pressure inside of your lungs.
Right,
Yeah,
but
but
you need
forget
that
about
air pressure. You need that air pressure to have the air here, right?
Is
Like
there a demonstration of gas pressure without a container?
Hmm. Well, I looked up why the atmosphere stays around the Earth. It says,
No, that's not what I'm
fortunately
asking.
for us, Earth's gravity is strong enough to hold on to its atmosphere. That's what it
Great.
says.
Okay. Great explanation.
So
Humpty
drop
Dumpty
helium.
sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall.
What happens if you drop a helium balloon?
Well, you don't really drop it, do you? It goes up.
I mean, when you let go of it, what happens to it? Does it drop or does it go up?
It goes up.
Right. So what does that have to do with gravity?
Hmm?
What does dropping a helium balloon have to do with gravity? If everything falls or if everything's pulled to the earth because of gravity, then how come the helium balloon goes up?
It's smart enough to pick and choose.
Okay, well, I looked this up and it says helium is lighter than air, so a balloon filled with this gas weighs less than the air, so it displaces it and will therefore be subjected to an upwards force.
Great.
Right.
So upwards force, so it goes all the way up and out into space. Is that what it does?
Did you know
And
that
flies off.
did you know that gravity ignores the clouds? Because we all know water vapor is heavier than the air, so all the water vapor in the clouds should be coming down to the earth. But I guess gravity just ignores the clouds and they stay up there. Cool story, bro.
Like hail.
Yeah. So this helium goes up and disperses into space. Is that what it does?
And
It says
air is
the balloon can only rise up until the atmosphere surrounding it has the same weight as the helium in the balloon.
Now gas has weight. All right. So what's stopping it? Do you know what happens? We'll go back to that same question. What happens to gas when higher pressure gas when it's next to lower pressure gas?
It goes into it. I don't even have to look that up.
Yep. So the vacuum of space is lower pressure and the Earth's atmosphere is higher pressure. So why does it not go without using gravity? Because we just demonstrated that gas goes in all directions, not down. So why does the vacuum of space, why does the gas pressure not go into the vacuum of space?
Well, that's like saying, what's 2 plus 2 and don't say 4.
no.
No, it's not. We had
It's the
examples
vacuum of
for it there.
space.
You said gas goes in all directions and fills the available space. The vacuum is available space. Why does it not fill the available space?
Because it doesn't have enough strength to go into there against gravity.
Is gravity, where's gravity strongest? At the surface or the...
Yes.
Yeah. So there's be less gravity on the outside of the bowl where the atmosphere is, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the gas pressure wouldn't have as much gravity to fight against to go out into the vacuum.
There wouldn't be so much gravity pulling it back in. There'd be less gravity. So if there's less gravity pulling it in the air, that kind of defies the purpose of it. Shouldn't it be stronger pulling it in because it has farther to reach?
So
Well,
basically, oh, go ahead.
if it never went into there, then the Earth's atmosphere would go on forever. It does eventually end where the Earth's gravity cannot hold on to the air anymore, so it does go into the space.
Then it
There's
just be
there's
We
a
talk
line actually called known for that. I don't know the
the
name for
Kármán
it, but
line, yes.
We know about the Kármán
what?
line, but that's not the
Kármán line, yeah.
gravitational line. That's not the gravitational line. You know what the Kármán line is, right?
It's the point where there is no more oxygen or no
Nope.
more air.
Nope. That's the line that they decided that was high enough for you
Oh,
to get your
space.
astronaut wings. Nope. Yeah, they call it space, but that's how high you need to go in order for you to get your own astronaut wings. Once you pass that line, you become an astronaut. That's all that line means.
Yeah, it's not a physical place.
There's still air up there.
So it's kind of like the equator.
Yeah, well, the equator, believe it or not, if you type in the definition of the equator, it literally says an imaginary line.
I
Ty,
know.
So we'll try.
It's
We're
there,
going
but
to
it's
try
not
to.
physically there. It's only
I just got to get him to just
demonstrationally
get
there.
to this point. So gas spans in all directions.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're saying gravity. So do you have a example of gas containing gas as gravity?
Sorry? Gas containing gas as gravity.
Yep. So the gravity acting upon gas being the container. Can you hold gas pressure in a spot due to gravity? Have you got an
Some
example of?
gases are actually very dense, so they will fall to the ground, actually. They will not disperse.
They won't fall to the ground because most gases are made at the ground level, so that's incorrect.
I thought all gas was
There
made at the
are
ground level.
gases that are denser than the atmos, as y'all call it.
We appreciate that, dude.
And
Words are
they
very important.
will go down. They will go the direction of down. If you put that gas inside of a helium balloon, it will go down faster than if you were to just put your regular human air into
Okay,
it.
so where did
Or
that gas
basically just
come
carbon
from?
dioxide,
Where
actually.
did that dense gas come from to go up and then go back down?
Well, humans had to lift it up there in the first place for it to ever
So
even go up.
naturally, the heavy gases don't go down because they were never up. Is that what you're saying?
Well, naturally, yeah. Humans
So how do
have
they
to
go
bring
down if
them
they
up
were
before
never
they
up?
go down.
Ty, if I told you to pressurize a gas, what would you do?
Well, I'd have to. This is a trick question. I know exactly what you're going to say. I'm going to say,
We want you to say
well,
it.
Trick question.
We
do
want
I
you to
have
say
a ball so insanely dense that it
it.
beats
No,
the gravity of Earth?
no, no.
Ty, I asked you, how would you pressurize a gas?
Well, since I don't have a ball that is so stupidly dense that it beats the gravity of Earth, I would have to put it in a container.
No shit, man.
Yeah, yeah. That's what we're
That was a
trying. That's
great
what we're
question.
saying.
I do not have a
Yeah.
black hole.
No one has a black hole, man.
I
Hey,
like you,
I
Ty.
know.
hey, real quick. Do you know how big of a black
Black holes
hole
are
you would have
weird.
to have? Do you know how big of a black hole you would have to have in order to have what they say is the size of the
Any
gravity of
type of
Earth?
black hole is the definition of a black hole means a point where light cannot escape.
Right.
Can you
So,
Point of
demonstrate a
gravity
black
so
hole?
insanely strong that light itself cannot escape it.
Can you demonstrate a black hole
So
for us,
therefore, that
please?
means any type of black hole would have stronger gravity than Earth. That was just
can you
Can you
demonstrate a
show
black
us a
hole?
black hole?
I saw in a video
Obviously not.
made by Ergostat. If the average duck, you would have to shrink that thing down to smaller than a proton to create a black hole.
Come on,
It has to
dude.
be insanely dense.
It's a cool
Stars,
computer
our
program,
sun
man.
is not
It's a
big
cool
enough
cartoon.
where it will create a
What?
black hole whenever it's dead.
Dude, why would shrinking something create a black hole?
Well, because that makes the matter more dense, which makes it higher
So
gravity.
what? Why?
Well, because when you on the heliocentric model, let's just say it's hypothetical in y'all's eyes. you're being affected by all matter on planet Earth, no matter what. But the gravity, on the other side of the Earth, it's affecting you way less than the gravity under you. But if you condense all that matter into a smaller portion, that matter below you is going to affect you more because
Why?
it's closer to you. So therefore, it's a higher gravity. And you condense that enough. I don't know how small you'd have to condense the
What?
Earth itself to become a black hole.
Yeah, but that didn't
Probably
explain
wouldn't
why
actually be
shrinking
that
something
small.
makes. That didn't explain why shrinking something makes it have more gravity. You just said it's the same amount of gravity. It's just moved closer to you, so then it
So
becomes
therefore, it's
stronger,
higher. It isn't
right?
more
But
gravity;
why?
it's stronger gravity.
Well, you got the inverse square law, right? Basically. So you're getting close to the epicenter, right?
Well, the
But
closer matter is to you, the higher gravity it has.
sure, but
To you, it's
if you took a rubber ducky, that's a certain amount of mass, right? A rubber ducky being small or big isn't going to change the amount of mass it has.
no, it would not have any more gravity. In fact, it would actually have less compared to you. It's kind of like motion. It's entirely what's the word I'm looking for here? It's different to everyone, everything.
Right.
Perspective.
So in other words, you have no validation for your claim because nothing has ever been shrunk like that. It's purely a mathematical construct that exists
Yes.
in a book or a piece of paper, right?
Right.
Okay, so why should I believe it?
I'm not sure why you should
Irrational.
believe.
Exactly. Me neither. All right, I'm gonna eat some French fries. I yield the floor.
Thanks, AI.
Are you doing
I
any
just
scientific experiments with those French fries tonight, AI?
Actually, yes, I'm actually trying to discover how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if I eat some French fries.
Are you taking bets?
Well, a woodchuck would chuck as much as a woodchuck would if a woodchuck could chuck wood.
boom.
Condense the French fries to the smallest point possible and see if they exert the same amount of gravity still.
Kid, I just want you to know you're epic, man. I appreciate. I don't know if anybody else here appreciates you. You give a lot of globe answers, and it's kind of demoralizing. But at least you've been honest and answered some of our questions the correct, honest way, and you haven't been deceptive in that. Even though you've obfuscated to try to find the globe answer when you're presented with a direct question, you've given honest answers in certain circumstances. So thank you.
Yeah, it's okay to have your bias tie, but you always got to be honest when it counts. So no matter what you decide to believe, no matter what information you take in, just always be sure in every single conversation, just be as honest as possible. Because really, what you want is the truth, right? You don't want to believe.
Mm-hmm.
So hey Ty, so back to what Timbo was saying about gases going in all directions, and you were talking about like, well, heavier gases would be lower to Earth. So like if you dropped a bunch of dry ice, right? You know what dry ice does, right? It kind of falls to the
Yeah,
ground.
yeah. It's a solid object, so it falls.
Right, right. But when it goes to the ground, what does it do after that? Does it go in all directions or does it just stay right there in that one spot?
Stays right there until it melts, which then it becomes carbon again, so it goes in all directions.
Well, not the ice part, the gas part. When you've got that smoky appearance from the dry ice,
It's actually heavy, so it falls.
it falls, but it goes in all directions, would you say?
Not in all, not up, but it does go
It
in
spreads
all
out.
right, frontwards, backwards directions.
Right, it spreads out.
It spreads out, yeah.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah, but
uncontained.
it doesn't stay there forever. It dissipates into the atmosphere, doesn't it? And goes in all directions, up, outwards. Otherwise, you'd just have dry ice everywhere, all over the ground.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we're saying is
What do
you need a
y'all think?
container
Why do y'all think we stay to the ground?
Because we're
Mass.
denser.
because we're more dense than the air.
Why doesn't a metal ball
Well,
fall through a wooden
what?
table?
What are you talking about, dude?
Well, if the reason we don't, if the reason that we hold on, yeah, if the reason that we don't go up is because we're more dense than the air, then why doesn't a metal ball wooden table? Because that metal ball is more dense than the wood.
Because the wood is not liquid or amorphous or fluid. It has rigidity.
Yeah, it has to be
So
strong enough to break that
it's
atomic bond.
yeah, exactly. Its molecular bonds are stronger than the weight of the piece of metal. But I have a counter question for you, friend. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. On the heliocentric expanding Big Bang cosmology under Einsteinian principles, when you place a metal ball on the table and it doesn't go through it, let me tell you what they say is happening. They say that gravity is pulling it down at 9.8 meters per second, accelerating it constantly. Yet you see with your eyes it's just sitting on a table. They then say that every force, right, needs an equivalent counterforce, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means that the table is accelerating upwards at 9.8 meters per second to resist the downwards accelerations of 9.8 meters per second. So both objects are actually accelerating into each other with equal acceleration to exert a force on each other. Now, check this out. This is where it gets wonkily donkily. So, the definition of acceleration is a change in rate of speed over time. Okay? A change in rate of speed over time, increasing or decreasing. In this case, increasing, right? Because negative acceleration is deceleration, but it's just acceleration in a different vector, right? Change in rate of speed over time. Speed, right,
Mm-hmm.
is displacement of space over time. So, in other words, 14 miles per hour. Every hour, I displace 14 miles. Okay, so the very definition of acceleration requires speed, and the very definition of speed requires displacement in space. Yet you see with your eyes both objects standing still. Now, doesn't that sound incoherent?
Yeah, but it's not. It only accelerates whenever there's nothing under it. It pulls down.
No, nope. It's always accelerating because the claim of why things have weight is that they're experiencing a constant acceleration. For example, they say things have an accelerometer like a phone, and the reason why your phone flips is because your accelerometer is measuring the 9.8 meters per second downward acceleration. So everything's experiencing a constant 9.8 meters per second downward acceleration force on it.
Yeah, I guess.
Right.
But
So I would submit to you that this idea that it's just like, oh, why do things stick to the ground? Why isn't the ball falling through? It's like there's numerous problems in the standard model, right?
yeah.
Right. So it's not the case that the flat earthers have the weird views and the standard people have the normal sane views. Both sides have weird views, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just what people are used to and normalized within their lives that makes the other side's position seem weird. But you see, the thing is that if you're a flat earther and you weren't in a cult or told by your parents when you were born or something like that, you would have grown up learning the standard model. So you have the context of what you used to believe, right? And what you've come to know.
Mm-hmm.
So in some ways, the flat earther, right, has an
Yeah.
advantage when it comes to this weirdness bias.
Mm-hmm. Well, about that whole, it's constantly accelerating downwards. I think I have dementia or something. I suck at remembering stuff. Anyway, if you have a metal ball and you pull a string to it, and you're constantly pulling against a metal table, like, let's say there's some board above you, and on top of that board there's a metal table, and on top of that table is a metal ball, and there's a hole through that table and the board. There's a string through both of those holes, and you're pulling down on that ball. You're pulling it down at a certain force constantly, but the table is just able to withstand it.
Right. So what's the definition of force?
Well, it's a
push or
certain
pull.
amount
A push or pull.
of pressure, yeah, sure, against
No. Force means push or pull.
certain amount of push
No,
or
I just
pull.
push or pull.
Gravity pull.
It's either or. There's nothing else about it.
Yeah, it's push or pull. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Okay, so more classical, like equational definition would be F equals ma. Force equals mass times acceleration, right? So we're back where we started. Force is just an expression of an accelerating mass. Acceleration means
No,
change in
but
rate of
at a
speed.
certain point where it gets too fast, that formula breaks down and it becomes inaccurate.
Okay. How
But up
fast?
until at this point, it's been working fine. But when you get
Okay, perfect.
speeds at the higher, then like it starts not working. You know what I mean?
Bye.
Sure. Yes, because the universe actually doesn't obey man's math interpretations. But anyway, the definition of acceleration is change in rate of speed over time. Speed is displacement of space over time. So again, we end up with the same problem. It's an incoherent definition. Because
Definition
they're
of
saying
what?
you're applying a force while something isn't moving.
No, but that still makes sense. You can apply a force onto something that's not moving.
No,
Yes.
no.
Yeah.
Demonstrate it.
Watch this. Did you see it?
No.
Oh. But what do you mean by not moving?
If something is sitting still, like in the first law of motion, there's no force acted upon it, right?
Globetards.
Don't worry about that. People
No, but
make
you could
funny memes.
still act force on it. It
No,
will
when you
just
have
start.
potential energy, there's no force acted on it. You need action in order to make it kinetic.
Yeah, that's your your own force is going
Right.
upon it.
So if there's no force
I
acted on
actually
it, then there's no force.
can tell you things about the ground if you move on it. Move on the
No,
ground.
wait. Maybe I'm not understanding
If you
what you're
put
trying
a
to say. Let
if
me
you put
get
a
this
camera
straight.
attached to some little
What
ball and
you think
the camera
is,
looking
all right?
directly up, you're gonna see it going. You're gonna see. Ooh, looks like I'm on a ball.
Yo, sheepdog.
Yo.
So what you're saying is something that is still cannot have force be acted upon it.
Correct. It's at rest.
All right, you missed out on the other half of the law, though. It will only stay in rest
It
until
stays at
something
rest
else acts on it.
until a force acts upon it.
Are there
Yeah.
other non-flat
So
earthers in here?
you yourself can be that force because a force is a push or pull.
Right.
If you push on that object,
It pushes
you
the
are,
object.
yeah, you are the force. There's force
Right.
on that object now.
Right.
Yeah, so you can have force on a still object. I'm not sure what
No,
you're trying to
once you
say.
do that, there's an immediate transfer of energy. You're missing the whole
Yeah,
point. An
I
object at
understand
rest is
that.
an object at rest. If I put a ball on the ground and I leave it alone and it doesn't move, there's no force acting upon it.
Yes.
Are there other non-flat earthers in here? Like this guy with the chicken sandwich profile?
Yes, there's other Globers in here.
Yay.
They're not going to be able to save you. You're probably the smartest one of the whole group.
I'm telling you, dude, I'm like, your parents did a good
I'm just
job
saying
in
it.
educating you. They miseducated you. That's the only problem. But they still did a good job helping you understand words. So I'm very proud for them of you and how you're standing in this room. So good job, kid.
I was always told I had a good vocabulary.
You do. You have a good understanding of rhetoric and placement of words and the definition of those words and how to use.
Well, actually, good vocabulary, but now you have to learn how to use the words in the right place and what they really mean, not what you think they should mean.
Right. That is the one thing we will always preach here. Words have meaning. But kid, I'm telling you, you're one of the smartest ones here, and at least you're honest. There's people that come in here and they're very dishonest because they don't want to give us the answer that everybody knows is the answer. It's an honest answer. It's an axiom.
Todd, can I ask you something?
Oh yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah.
What have you been in any school where your curriculum has taught you about, let's just say, people like Tesla?
Tesla?
Right. Yeah.
Nikolai
Like
Tesla.
have you had that in your curriculum, learning anything like that yet?
I've learned about some of electricity, I guess. If
Have they taught you about
If you're
Einstein?
talking about Nikola Tesla,
Yeah, Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
isn't he like all about electricity?
Well, I just wanted to know if the school that you've gone to, have they spoken about him?
Don't think so.
Or they talk
Not that
about
I
Thomas
remember.
Edison and Albert Einstein.
I've heard of all these people, but I don't think I've ever done any papers or anything on them.
Okay.
They taught you about Einstein though?
You see
Have
him in
they
your book.
mentioned
My
Einstein in your
dad,
curriculum?
I think my dad's, who's the science teacher, talked about some of his laws in science class.
So your dad's a science teacher.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Oh no.
Got him.
You're doomed.
There's hope.
No.
Well,
The
that means
best
you can
part
learn the
is when you
scientific method.
the best part is when he takes these scientific questions, applies the actual scientific method to these questions, and goes to his dad and says, "Hey, Dad, how do we demonstrate gravity with the scientific method?" That's going to be some epic
Yeah,
stuff.
we expect you to do that too. So don't let us down. Also, have him explain to you how to have gas pressure next to a vacuum, all that stuff. You want a demonstration of it, and I'll even give him the vacuum chamber to do it with if he promises that it will create an air bubble inside a vacuum chamber.
He
An
might even
air
be
bubble
listening.
inside of a vacuum chamber. That the air bubble's gonna get sucked up through the vacuum chamber.
If your dad ever has free time before lectures, bring him in here.
Welcome to Flat Earth, then, since you can't have that gas bubble
We're
inside
not. No,
the
he
chamber.
does the science thing as a side job. We're actually really farmers.
Okay,
No,
all right.
I have question. I have question.
Yeah.
I am still a little confused over like shape, form stuff. Alright. I ain't set 100%. And one of the counter arguments against flat Earth is that gravity is applied on all sides. So that's one.
Oh,
And like I'm a little
okay.
confused about that.
Do you want to stop there, or do you want to make it 3 points?
No. I wanna answer the bigger question.
What?
You know, I think there's bigger things than gravity. And
Well, I
the
can answer
second
that super.
thing
I can
is
answer that
time
super
zone.
fast.
And
I
then
can
the
answer that
second one
super
is
fast.
time zones.
Well,
That's the
Okay.
let's
other
answer the
big one.
gravity question. Let's answer the gravity question real quick,
No,
and
I
then
No,
wanna
go ahead.
I don't
Go
go
ahead
ahead
and
with
let
your
them.
question.
Go ahead and
I
let them
don't
get
want
them all out.
no, I want to answer your second one.
Time zones.
Yeah.
Okay. What is a time zone?
To my understanding, it's a difference in time between two things, like two places, or it's
It was
far enough. Yeah.
it was
Right.
created by
And
man, right?
time zones are arbitrary, right? So
Mm.
they're just zones of territory marked out by men where they say that this is the clock. I think what you're meaning to ask is why is it daylight sometimes
Yes.
here?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the more that's the more depth question. So the answer is that sometimes there's light over here and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes there's light over there. That's the answer.
Your mind is blown, dude.
But
I know it is.
so in this flat Earth, right? Does it also spin like the other side says?
Do you feel it spinning?
No, but if I'm in an airplane, I don't feel it moving.
Yeah, I do. I feel it
You
like I
do?
feel turbulence all the time, man.
He has some nervous disorder. He doesn't feel movement.
No,
Well,
because
let's say that's true. Let's say that's
because
true.
at a certain speed, right?
Yep.
At a certain speed, you won't feel it.
Okay, that's fine. Let's say that's true.
And like another thing.
Hold on,
Hold
dude.
on, Duro.
Well, no, I just want to counter argue this guy that like
You
There's
didn't
like
man, dude, what are you talking
I have
about?
a strong point against people saying that you can't feel it because if you can't feel
I'll
it,
be
it doesn't
back.
exist.
But this message I'm trying to send on it won't send, so I think it's because I'm on a call or something, so I'll be back. Maybe then
all
I'll have
right,
to
man. If you have to, send it to me, and I'll post it for you. Come back when you can.
no, not in Discord, in a different place.
Oh, okay. All right, buddy. See you around.
Yeah, he needs that sweet. He needs that sweet bandwidth.
All right, buddy. See you around.
Yeah, he needs that sweet. He needs that sweet bandwidth.
On a farm in Oklahoma.
All right, and then like back to the whoever said that because you can't feel the earth spin, it doesn't spin. I'm not sure if it spins, but I know that there's a lot of air above us, and you don't feel the air, but you know
I
it's
feel the
there because
wind.
you're breathing it,
I
and
feel
there's
the
a lot
wind.
of air. You have
I feel the
and
wind.
all that air creates a lot
I
of
feel the wind.
yeah.
Oh my
Mm-hmm.
goodness.
You know it's there, right?
when I walk through the when I walk around, I can feel the air moving past me.
All right, nah. All right. Good point. So you know it's there. I don't have to argue that there is air, right?
Yeah.
All right. Why do you not feel the weight?
I'm breathing it.
Why
Huh?
do you not feel the weight?
Why do I not feel the light? If you get
No,
close enough
The
to the edge,
weight.
no. Where do you not feel the weight? Weight.
That's because you're internally pressurized. That's why.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that
That's
means
the reason
if it
why.
changes, if the amount of air changes, you would feel it, right?
Yeah. What's your point, though?
Well, if you're set on the internalized thing, whatever you
Right.
said.
Yeah.
Then
Like I goes,
why would that not work for the spinning Earth?
It's very simple, and I'll explain it to you in the most simplest way possible. So, I date a supermodel. She's gorgeous. Okay. The problem is she's very busy and she doesn't have a lot of time for me. And the way you know that's true is because she's not here right now, because she's too busy.
What does that? I don't understand.
Okay. The claim that the Earth is spinning is a positive claim that requires evidence. Saying that you wouldn't notice the Earth spinning is not evidence for its spinning. Kind of like you don't notice my girlfriend that I date, but that proves she
Isn't that
exists.
what you guys say?
Look, the Earth
I
being
asked the
stationary,
question, and then your response was that
yeah.
it doesn't spin. That was your
No,
response, not
that
mine.
wasn't my response.
Well, all right. Well, somebody said it. So, mic up, bro.
Well, either way, you conceded the point, right?
Nah, mic up, bro.
That
Whoever said it. Come on now. Why so
I
shy
don't
now?
even. If you're talking to me, I don't even know what you said because you're being
No,
incoherent.
somebody. I don't know. Maybe he left. I don't know.
it don't matter.
I think it matters.
Look,
I think
you
if you
already
have the balls.
agreed. You already agreed, okay, that we experience on a local level the Earth as stationary. Your argumentation was to try to make an excuse for why we don't feel it, which proves you agree that we don't feel it or notice it. So we all agree that the base level axiomatic experience of the human condition is they do not feel the earth move.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
Right. So then if someone comes along and say the earth moves, they have to prove it.
Hmm. I'm pretty sure there's something out there, but back to the other thing I was talking about, the very first thing before somebody brought up that shit.
You brought it up, dude.
The time zones thing. In this model of Earth that is flat, is it spinning?
Oh my God. You didn't hear the last 15 minutes talking to you?
No, but I never.
So what you're saying is why, if it's 1 o'clock in New York, why is it 12 o'clock in Dallas?
No. I want to no, I wanted to know because
That's
I'm trying
literally
to
what you were trying to
understand
say, but
both
okay, I'm
sides.
trying to help you.
I need to understand both sides before I can make my decision. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
sure.
Ta-da!
Okay.
So
So the common human experience, okay, on a
no, I
base
want to
level.
no. Just say yes or no. This is a yes or no question. In this model of Earth that is flat, is it spinning?
No,
No.
and there is no model
No.
of flat Earth, and there is no model of the sphere Earth either. You don't know what a model is.
It's if you search up globe, that's your model.
No, it's not a model. Define a model.
Model,
Scientific.
it's
Is
something
this a
that's built.
scientific model, please?
No, like I meant a model, like a
You're in a model. That's a
like a
reification.
Whoa.
three-dimensional representation.
Woo. That's worse, bro.
You're in
No,
a
if you're
model.
like, what?
Are you in a model?
What? No,
That you said model. So what is a model?
no,
Are you
but
talking
like,
about a scientific model or runway model or
no,
what?
I'm talking about you have to build a display
Ta-da!
to show your Earth.
To show our Earth. What the hell are you talking about? Are you drunk?
Stop muting me, please. Let me explain my.
Are you drunk?
Stop muting me, whoever.
Are you drunk?
Want to let me talk?
What the hell are you talking about? Well, could you please
If
say something
ask,
coherent and stop over fucking talking me?
you're the one over talking me. Let me
Okay,
finish.
you're done. Fuck off. Go back to the playground. You're a dumbass. You don't know what a model is. You don't know what a scientific model is, but you claim in our flat Earth model, there is no flat Earth model. There is no sphere-tard model. Are we clear?
If you don't let me finish, I'm
Shut the fuck up. Don't let you finish. I'm protecting everyone in here from your incoherent nonsense. It's like a fucking insidious disease. I'm protecting their IQ points.
I'm getting ear aids.
Yeah, I'm really fucking scared of you, you dumbass fucking cracker. What's the second law of thermodynamics? Give it to me in equation form and then give me an example. Let me show you how fucking scared I am of you. What is the second law of thermodynamics?
your mom's ass cheeks,
Yeah,
nigger.
that's right. Your sister didn't seem to mind, though. Bye. You're done.
What's up, QE?
This guy.
Built like a bean returns.
Dark lower knot.
Who's the ISS guy?
Yeah, because people on YouTube have pictures of the ISS.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
Where is it located? Where's the ISS located in
Swimming
in
pool.
their paradigm?
My bad.
You're bad. How old are you?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, this is gonna be interesting. What's about to happen, yo?
Who are you?
It's irrelevant. You just sound young. I think this, if I'm not mistaken, the server has an age limit.
He's 13.
We're not supposed to ask
fine.
people.
He's fine. We've
Where's
already
chicken
finished the
sandwich?
interview.
We've been talking to him for the past 2 hours.
Oh, I'm sorry. So the moderators have given him clear sailing. Fair enough. You sound like you're like 9.
I get that.
He's old enough.
Yeah, he also could be 29-year-old Glover with a voice changer.
Yeah, he could be. He could be.
Hey,
Sounds
QE,
like his vocabulary is like a 29-year-old Glover.
Really? Does he know what the second law of thermodynamics is?
Probably.
Let's see, Bean. Go ahead, Bean. Tell us what the second law of thermodynamics is.
I've heard of it.
That's a good one.
Look, man, I don't know.
That's fine.
Hey,
I
QE,
don't
we showed him
know.
we showed him the
Honesty.
black swan, and he did tell us he didn't see any curvature while looking at the black swan.
Oh, you did give him the back. Good. Yep.
He also admitted that 70% of the Earth is water and the surface of water is flat.
Damn. He's wise beyond his years.
Are people glitching out, or did y'all just not stop talking?
You might be glitching out a little bit. I don't know.
You might want to drop out and come back in. Did he understand the argument?
Yeah.
Cool.
His father is a science teacher.
Uh-oh.
Part-time.
Exactly
They
what
live
I
on a farm. They live on a farm. But his dad's a
Nothing wrong with that.
part-time science teacher. No,
Nothing
not at
wrong
all.
with that. Yeah.
He
He's
also told us because
I
he
live
doesn't have a
close
black
to some
hole.
towns.
He told us because he doesn't have a black hole, the only way to contain pressure,
I know that
air
you're kind
pressure.
of twisting my words a little bit. That was just kind of a joke. I don't have a
Just
ball
letting them
dense
know.
enough.
I was just letting them know, Ty. He did say
Okay.
that air pressure does require containment because he doesn't have anything as big as a black hole.
He should have stopped
As
with the first
dense
statement.
as the Earth,
You should have stopped with the first
not
statement.
just black holes.
Yeah, there are no
Black holes as strong as they get. I
There
don't
are
need
no
the
black
strongest
holes.
they get.
Show a black
An
hole.
atmosphere.
Show a black hole. Atmosphere, that's a contradiction in terms. Atmo means air. Air is a gas. Sphere is a shape.
Yeah,
Gases
my bad.
have no-
My bad, I guess.
Oh, my God. You're going to interrupt me, too? Before I'm done? You'll go on mute real quick. Interrupt me again. I dare you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow. So, atmosphere is a contradiction in terms. Atmo means air. Air is a gas. Sphere is a shape. Gases have no inherent shape.
End of statement.
Pretty
But if you put air in a
Dad can
box, you
explain
could
that to
technically
you.
call that box air.
What if you said that to your
You
dad?
could
What do you
technically
think he
call
would
that
say?
cube air.
What?
You could technically call it cube air if you put it inside of a cube. Air inside of a cube.
No, it's just contained by a cube. It doesn't take the shape of a cube.
It kind of does.
It kinda. Define kinda.
I meant
Yeah, that's what I
that to be a
thought.
smartass.
It kinda does. It takes no shape. Now it fills the container with which it's in.
So therefore, it takes the shape of its container.
It takes the shape of the container. Show me cube air.
There is no cube Earth.
Cube air.
I could get a square box,
Okay.
a glass, a glass box. That would technically be cube air unless there is a vacuum inside of it.
And vacuum.
And even then,
And even then,
not
this is a
perfect.
nonsensical discussion.
Yeah, this is supposed to be about flat Earth, flat Earth
Yeah,
and
flat
global.
Earth. Yeah, you seen the black swan, right?
I really don't know what the black swan means.
All right, let's try something a little
What do y'all
simpler.
mean by black swan?
Let's try something a little bit simpler, because the black swan might be beyond you. Okay, so we're gonna try something a little bit simpler. Do you know or have heard of celestial navigation?
I would assume it means just going through space. Yeah.
No, it's not going through space. Celestial navigation, they use it in the Navy to find their position.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They use a sextant.
Pretty sure they show a little thing of that in Moana.
They use a sextant. What is a sextant used for?
I assume it measures stars to tell where your location is.
No, it doesn't measure stars.
It doesn't measure the stars.
It measures
I don't know the word.
elevation. Okay, relax. A sextant measures elevation angles. Define an elevation angle with citation, please. I don't want you making stuff up.
I don't. I can't. I don't know what an elevation angle is.
All right, fair enough. So you do understand that that celestial navigation does occur, does exist.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna. Can you see live stream voice text?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could scroll. I could go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Quantum Eraser at 34 minutes after the hour. Can you read that out loud from radartutorial.eu?
That's pretty long.
It's just a short sentence.
Just the white part, not the. You don't need to read the blue part.
Am I supposed to click the link?
No.
Just the
Okay, hold on.
sentence.
Going back. Hold on. Okay. Elevation angle is the angle between the horizontal plane and the line of sight measurement, the vertical plane.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Measurement in the
QE.
vertical plane. Yep.
And that's a wall of text.
That's not about
It's
that.
by weird thing.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's okay. So we have an elevation angle, which is actually a right angled triangle. Do you know what
Okay.
I
know what a right angle triangle is.
Yeah. Do you know what a triangle is? You don't need a citation with that. I'll
Literally any shape with three sides.
any shape with three sides. Well,
literally any shape with three sides and 3 points.
Rudimentary. Yeah, it's a three-sided polygon that has.
Show me literally any shape that has three sides that is not a
Oh my
triangle.
god! So,
sorry,
a three-sided polygon with straight lines, right?
Yes.
The most important part of a triangle is the angle sum property of a triangle. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I've heard it called like that before, but I know what it is. It's 180.
Yeah, all the angles add up to 180 degrees.
Yes.
Now, when you have a right angle
I
triangle,
use it in math class. My bad. My bad.
no, you're good. No, you use the math cut. Yeah. So what they use the sextant for is to acquire elevation angles. The question is, how can an elevation angle be acquired off a curved baseline or a curved adjacent?
They probably just it's small enough curved where they can act like it's flat or something.
Negative. You can't acquire an elevation angle from a curved baseline, and more importantly, it's not a triangle then.
Yeah, it would not be a triangle.
Exactly. Welcome to Flat Earth. Simple as that. It's all over.
It's that basic, man.
Or they could just do some mathematical calculations to
No,
make
they
it to
can't.
where it is
No,
using
they
the
can't.
Earth's curvature.
No, they can't. You can't acquire an elevation angle off a spheroid. Any elevation angle. We don't even have to talk about celestial navigation. Any elevation angle acquired on Earth is a flat Earth proof. Simple as that. It's all over with a right angle triangle. Unless you can show how you can acquire an elevation angle off a curved baseline or a curved adjacent, and even show how you can get 90 degrees off a curved. It's over. It's that simple.
Are you sure they don't do any other type of math
No,
to figure it
I'm
out?
pretty sure.
No, yeah, my friend, what they actually do is they begin with what's known as logical fallacies. The math comes much later.
Did you know that?
So let me put it to you this way. If you're a globe believer, not you, but the royal you. If you're a globe believer, you have to deny the very existence of a sextant. That can't exist in your worldview. It's a direct contradiction. In other words, you feel the gravity of that?
So the what of that?
The gravity.
So the what?
Let me do it this way.
I
The
heard you. I
gravity
heard
of
you,
that.
dude.
So, yeah, I'm using it metaphorically. So, G is in golf, R is in Romeo, A is in Alpha, V is in Victor, I is in India, T is in Tango, Y is in Yankee. The gravity. Do you feel the gravity of the situation here?
Yes.
Yep. So, welcome to Flat Earth. Snacks are in the back, bathrooms
Yep.
on the left, DJ spinning requests. Smoke them if you got them.
Send your dad in next.
No, a place with snacks actually sounds fun.
Right.
Anything with snacks. All you need is snacks to attract me.
That's lovely.
My name is literally built like a bean, so.
What are you going to do? The Globetard just died. To get back on topic, what are you going to do?
I'll look this up.
Okay.
How do sextants work on a globe?
They don't. It's impossible. It's Milli Vanilli. It's a married bachelor.
You're gonna find a lot of pseudoscience articles once you open that door. When it comes to a triangle, though, you already admitted that the sum of all sides equal 180, and if you curve any line on a triangle, you no longer have 180 degrees.
No, you can't. You can't acquire. It's like dividing by zero. You can't have. It's not a triangle then. Number one.
It
Number two,
says
you're not.
uses reflective mirrors to determine the distance between a celestial object, sun, moon, planet, star, and the horizon in order to calculate the. Okay, I'm gonna have to click this link to read this.
You're gonna go in a long rabbit hole, but if you keep clicking links.
Yeah, and remember the
The
horizon.
sextant is an instrument that uses reflecting mirrors to determine the distance between a celestial object, blah blah, and the horizon in order to calculate the latitudinal position of the vessel.
Nah, that's incorrect.
I think he's at ruhif.blogspot.com.
Yeah, it's just an elevation angle measuring device, is what it does. It doesn't measure any distance.
A sextant is a doubly reflecting navigation instrument that measures the angular distance between two visible objects.
Angular distance. That doesn't sound kosher. What are distance units of measure?
It's just what the Wikipedia says.
Yeah, Wikipedia.
This is Wikipedia now.
Yeah, I understand that you said it first time. I got it. So you can't use wiki as a source or a citation. Do you know why?
Because it's just people writing it. Yeah, you can edit it.
Yeah.
Smart kid.
Yeah,
Smart kid.
that's pretty astute, I would say.
The boy is smarter than 99% of other Globers.
Okay, this is Marine Insight.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Watch out.
I think you're talking to one.
What is a sextant? The sextant is a valuable instrument to use to determine the angle between the horizon and a celestial body, like the sun, moon, or star. It is used in celestial navigation to find out the latitude and longitude.
Todd, can you have the angle
No.
over a curved surface?
Hold on a second.
Nuh-uh.
It's not finding longitude. No. I mean, maybe 6 or 7 steps down the road. We're just talking what a sextant is. A sextant is an elevation angle. That's very important. Not just an angle. Well, it can do angles, but for our purposes here with celestial navigation, it is an elevation angle measuring device.
Between the horizon and a celestial body.
Yep.
QE, why is the word angle so important?
Well, you can measure angular diameter of something. That's not an elevation angle. So an elevation angle is a right angle triangle. That's the difference.
So you're saying you're measuring a right angle triangle over a curved surface.
Yeah, that's non sequitur. It's dividing by 0. You can't do it because the baseline would have to curve.
Todd, does that make sense?
Yep.
I was reading something.
Oh man. Throwing it doctor, they just said we got QE in here.
It says sextant derives its name from the Latin word sextus, or 1/6, as the sextant's arc spans 60 degrees or 1/6 of a circle. Octants with 45-degree arcs were initially used to determine the latitude. However, sextants were developed with wider arcs to calculate longitude from lunar observance.
Yeah, but celestial navigators aren't acquiring longitudes with a sextant. So I don't know where you're getting it from. There maybe like
Marine Insight.
Yeah, maybe about 20 steps down the line. That's not what they're used for. See, they pick them up and they measure elevation angles. That's the main mission.
Are you trying to say nuh-uh?
Am I trying to say no? No, I'm saying they're elevation angle measuring devices. That's not a nuh-uh. That is what it's used for.
They're what? Let me look this up. A.
There's no latitude readout on the sextant.
Or longitude, for that matter.
Elevation.
Or temperature.
Angle.
So all that reading that you're doing, did you read the link that QE posted?
Hold on.
Do it this way.
Device.
Excuse me, guys. Sorry for my ignorance. Where do y'all are seeing the links posted?
Inclometer is
Live
an
stream
instrument used for measuring angles of a slope, elevation, or depression of an object with respect to gravity's direction.
Gravity's direct.
Yeah, I don't know. When I read gravity, I knew you were going to blow up.
Blow up? No, we're just going to laugh at you.
Well, I knew y'all. I knew y'all would make something out of gravity.
Oh, yeah, really? Gravity. So we can move on because you can't get elevation angles off curved baselines. We can move on to your gravity. Which one are you talking about?
I knew y'all would react.
It's not y'all, it's me. So don't try to divine how I'm going to react. Listen to the question asked to you. Which gravity are you speaking to?
The Albert Einstein's.
Okay. The General Theory of Relativity, published November 15th, 1915. So is that a scientific theory of gravity?
If it was made by Albert Einstein, I would assume so.
You would assume so. So I want you to pull out the hypothesis that was validated by experiment to confirm general theory of relativity. I need the hypothesis. Uh-oh, creation bears here.
General theory of relativity. General relativity, also known as the general theory of relativity and Einstein's theory of gravity, is the geometric theory of gravitation published by Albert Einstein in 1915 and is the current description of gravitation in modern physics.
Theories don't describe, they explain. So my question again is, in order to have an actual scientific theory, you have to have at least one hypothesis, hopefully many more. However, at least one scientific valid hypothesis so you can test it via experiment. We didn't get to the experiment yet. I'm just asking for the hypothesis.
What we perceive as the force of gravity arises from the curvature of space and time.
That's not a hypothesis.
Yeah, I just looked up hypothesis theory of general relativity.
I know what you looked up. That is not a scientific hypothesis. Please post the independent and dependent variable in that hypothesis.
I would not know, man.
You're going to have to go find it out. Until then, you need to pull back on your claim of gravity.
So what am I trying to find? An independent variable in general relativity?
No, the hypothesis, and then identify the independent and dependent variable in the hypothesis. So three
What
things.
would I look up to find that?
You'd have to
Good
go
question.
through. You'd have to go through the actual paper, get it translated, and then pull out the hypothesis that was tested by experiment. I'm going to need the independent and dependent variable. I'm just looking for the hypothesis. I have yet to get to the. I don't care about the experiment at this point. I don't want to overwhelm you. So find the hypothesis, and I want it stated, along with identification of the independent and dependent variable.
So the hypothesis
Yes.
of
General relativity. Yeah, just to say, there should be more than one, but I'll take one.
Hypothesis of general relativity.
A single hypothesis that was validated by experiment. Don't worry about the experiment just yet. I want the hypothesis, and I want the independent and dependent variable in said hypothesis. Simple. You don't have to
So-
find it now. That's fine. If you don't know what it is, you can find it at your leisure and then come back, and then hopefully you'll post it to somebody that knows what the hell they're doing in here. That's a big ask.
Hypothesis of theory of general relativity.
Yes, because hypotheses or related hypotheses are confirmed by experiment for a actual scientific theory to exist. So you have to have at least one.
I'm not saying a hypothesis. What is Einstein's hypothesis?
He doesn't have one.
Special relativity
That was the right
is
question.
an explanation of how speed affects mass.
Not special relativity. We're talking about general relativity. Before we get into mass, where you're going to train wreck yourself with that, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about general relativity, not special relativity. So we can focus.
Okay, well,
We're
I
looking-
see something that says, what was the proof that confirmed the theory of general relativity? Testing the theory.
You don't test theories. You test hypotheses which conclude in a theory.
It says Arthur Stanley's Eddington's of 1919
Arthur
expedition.
Stanley Eddington. Well, you got a problem right there. Because you got the scientific theory being published in 1915, and then you have a reference from 1919. Sorry.
Well, anyway, let me just read it. Arthur Stanley's.
No, we're not going to let you read it. I want the hypothesis. You've already heard it a number of times. So don't read anything Eddington says. It's irrelevant.
You realize Einstein made that paper, that wrote that paper on what he called a theory. And we're asking you for the hypothesis, or QE is asking you for the hypothesis of Einstein's theory, but you're pointing to somebody else to make the explanation.
4 years later.
4 years later. Correct.
Can't happen.
He made an observation. He made his own observation. And then you're expecting somebody else to explain something that he should have explained.
It doesn't matter. Eddington's experiment is a pseudo experiment. He didn't have a hypothesis either.
Right.
But I don't want to go down that road because I don't need to. Right? It's got to be in the paper. If it's not in the paper, then it's not a scientific theory, period. Yeah. Like I said, you don't need to provide it now. You can go search for it, ask your dad, and then come back at some point, and you could talk to people in here with your hypothesis. And remember, I need the hypothesis, then identify the independent and dependent variable in said hypothesis. That's what we need. I can save you some time. You're not going to find it. But
Okay.
Send him chasing his tail.
It's important that you try to find it yourself and
Yes.
see that this is what it is.
Yes, so there is no scientific evidence for fairy tale gravity. So I would kind of curtail my gravity, right, until you can find the hypothesis, at least the hypothesis. We'll go find the experiment afterwards, but we need the hypothesis first.
There's no one.
Yeah.
This says National Center for Science Education. Gravity, it's only a theory.
No, that's
No.
incorrect. It's not only a theory. It's not even a theory because there are no hypotheses in it.
It's imaginary.
And they're using theory colloquially. The National Centers for Science Education are retards.
There are dumb people that are in leadership, just so you know.
I'm not getting into politics.
Yeah, we're not talking about politics here, so
No.
no worries.
But it's a colloquial thing.
I'm getting summoned by my cat, so you guys are gonna have to take over for about the next 5 minutes. You sure you can handle it?
I think we can, QE. I appreciate you coming in here.
More you know.
The segue. Creation Bear, you're kind of new in here with this kid. Have you gotten to talk to this kid yet?
Hello?
Is he at the bottom or?
I don't think he's in here.
Oh, who was playing the bot?
I think it's Ether.
Okay,
Hey,
listen.
Progress, you got control of the bot. You're doing a good job, man.
Not it. I've been doing something else.
You can
Actually.
listen. You
Oh,
can
whoever it
listen
was.
to the stream. You can listen to the stream without being in the room.
That's true. I'll mute.
That's right. Also, I expect your pinky to be on my desk tomorrow.
Okay, I see something about a hypothesis now.
Woo.
He means a hypothesis for general relativity. Have you got that?
By Einstein in 1915.
I don't think there's one by Einstein.
That's a problem.
That's the guy that created the idea of general relativity. Nobody else thought of it.
Einstein walked around sticking his tongue out. He didn't write shit.
He did marry his cousin, didn't he?
Oh my.
Okay, well, I'm seeing this as the explanation. I can't. It's kind of hard to find exactly where they're saying this. It says for gravity, we use Einstein's theory of general relativity to explain why things fall. A theory starts as one or more hypotheses, untested ideas about why blank, and I'm trying to find that now.
So is everybody else. They're still looking, and they're still looking.
What would you need to see to be convinced that you live on a flat plane?
Okay, so this theory starts as one or more hypotheses, untested ideas about why something happens. For example, I might propose that a hypothesis that the object that you released fell because it was pulled by the Earth's magnetic field. Once we started testing, it would not take long to figure out that my hypothesis was not supported by the evidence. The non-magnetic objects fall at the same rate as magnetic objects because it was not supported by the evidence. My hypothesis does not gain status of being a theory. To become a scientific theory, the idea must be thoroughly tested and be an accurate world predictive description of the natural world.
You get it?
Oh, so what did you get out of that?
What the hell did you just say?
It hasn't told me any hypothesis yet.
But it tells you, at least me, who is language third language English, is telling you that the theory need to be tested.
Like you understand the steps of the scientific method, right? Like you have to observe a phenomenon first, then you create a hypothesis. And then after you test that hypothesis repeatedly, manipulating the independent variable, establishing the dependent variables, maybe putting in some controls, and you come to a conclusion, then you can form a theory of what you think might be going on.
Are you feeling ripped off yet?
I don't think he's that invested into it.
You got somebody in your house teaching science. This is going to be an issue.
Space is probably far from his
Okay, well, this just says who
education.
proved a theory.
No, you don't prove a theory. A theory is proof from the hypothesis.
Can you find also fastly but shortly what is pseudoscience?
Look up pseudoscience.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
what is pseudoscience?
It's fake science. I already know what it is, but I'll look it up anyway.
Quasi science. It's thought science.
but look at in definition. It's saying very very good. It's good definition.
A collection of
Something
beliefs
missing.
or practices mistakenly regarded as being based on scientific method.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like if somebody wrote a bunch of math equations and never physically tested those math equations in a scientific experiment, but the math works out for that math equation, for that pseudo theory. You see where the problem in lies? It's like there's a lot of thought science going on, but there's no real science going on.
It's like the word science is thrown around too much. When it actually has remember before we were talking about words have meanings. Yeah, like science has a meaning, a word definition. So when people say science says this, science says that. Science doesn't say anything. It's just a method on how you come to a conclusion following the scientific method.
The reason why words mean something, because in science, when you're using the method, you have to be hyper specific with every word that is used.
What's she looking up?
I'm not looking up anything.
Just listening. I know it's been a long day. It's already 11 o'clock at night, man. I'm surprised you've been up this late.
For me, it's 11:05.
Yeah.
He's given up on looking for the hypothesis.
Like just as a what is it called? A hobby. Like when you have a little spare time, do your own research on it, buddy. You know what I mean? Like you got your homework you got to do, and you got work
No,
around the
not
house
really.
that you got to do. Well, and you got work around the house you got to do. You know, you got to like,
Yeah, that's something I have to do.
yeah, you
My
got things
school
you got
really
to
doesn't
do.
give out homework.
But
I've never gotten homework.
when you have spare time and you're not doing sports or you're not doing home stuff, or whatever it is that you do for your spare time, and you're like, you know what, I need to look up some of this stuff and I need to look into it a little bit better. These guys really made me question something, and so I think it's important to really find out if there's any proof that the Earth is a ball, or are they just making stuff up?
Ty,
And
you
we hope you
homeschool?
come back.
Yeah, for real. Ty, you homeschool?
No.
That's what's up. I asked you earlier. I don't know if you heard, but I was asking if what would you need to see to believe or to be convinced that you live on a flat plane?
Well, I also had to look up any proof that the Earth is round.
But what would you need to see in order to be convinced that the Earth is a flat plane?
I really don't know.
Do you think seeing things too far is good enough?
Well, I think it's also important to know that we're not here to convince anyone. We're here to just have a conversation. I would
Well,
much rather you come to the conclusion on your own without us telling you anything.
well,
Because I guess
some
our
guy told
problem is.
me. Some guy
Sorry, go
told
ahead.
me to look up any proof that the Earth is round, and I looked it up, and it said 10 interesting facts to prove that the Earth is round. Number 10, every other solar object we see is round, so there's no information that the Earth would be any different.
But do the things in the sky look like the things underneath your feet?
Time zones.
Well, does that
Hold on,
like
Dean.
logically follow? You have to think about what you're saying. Does that logically follow? Something
Like
that
when
you're
you
looking that has nothing to do with the Earth doesn't even look like the Earth up in the sky. We would use that to determine what the Earth looks like. Does that make any sense?
like do you see trees on the moon? Do you see grass on the moon? Do you see water on the moon?
No.
I mean,
But if
everything that
all
in the
other
sky
solar
has.
objects follow one single principle that unites them all, they're a ball. Why?
Think about what you're saying.
All other objects that are as large as the moon follow a principle that they are basically a round ball. Why would the Earth be any different?
What do
How
you
we know
mean?
that?
That,
How we
you're
know
not thinking
how
about what.
how we know that they are balls?
Well, that's what we
Stating
see.
the question, sir.
That
Stating the
we are
question.
saying. If we are saying that mean they are balls, is it moon a ball?
Yeah.
How do
Oh,
you know?
really?
How do we know that?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it keeps the same shape. Like, it doesn't appear to like distort or anything. Whether it's like just
Is it
rising or right above you.
is a circle round?
Is it a sphere?
A sphere's round. Well, a circle is also round. I'm talking about ball here. I don't like
Is
calling
a
it
Even if
is a
sphere.
cylinder round?
Yes,
So
Is it
there's many
moon?
different forms of
round,
round.
but it's not a sphere. Everything else is a sphere, is what I'm trying to say.
Doesn't
How
matter
do you know?
anyway.
Even if you could
It doesn't
verify
matter
they
anyway.
are.
It's non sequitur fallacy.
Yeah, it doesn't
Exactly.
With the
follow.
pool table and balls and stuff. Yeah, I just got back. Can you provide a elevation angle with a curved baseline?
To the person who just talked, they are spherical.
Yeah. And Penelope
No.
Pitstop was Bruce Lee's grandfather. So, until you can provide an elevation angle with a curved baseline, we could care less about your nonsensical appeals to fucking balls floating in a second law of thermodynamics violating vacuum. So this isn't, pick your fallacy day.
Hey, you
So
understand that?
it's already over, right? If he knows what a triangle is, welcome to flat Earth.
Yeah.
You could drop all the nonsensical arguments you're mindlessly parroting.
All 10 of them.
Well, I haven't even gotten to the 7th one yet.
Hey,
Why would we need to? Unless you could provide or show an elevation angle with a curved baseline, we don't need to entertain anything down the fallacy trail line that you're mindlessly parroting that you haven't evaluated yet.
Bean, can you look up the definition of a fallacy?
You can just call me Ty.
Oh, sorry,
I
Ty.
recognize Ty a lot more than Bean because, like,
Ty,
Yeah,
can you look up the definition of a fallacy? Fallacy.
mistaken belief, especially one based on an unsound argument.
Unsound reasoning. That's what a logical fallacy is. Yeah. You just provided one with your mindless parrot.
Well, I'm going to run
You're- You already said that you can't have a triangle on a sphere, and then you immediately were talking about all the objects in the sky, whatever they are, and because they look like they're circular or spherical in nature, that you must be on a sphere.
There's no way he could tell that. People just told him that.
No. Yeah, he was reading. He looked up how to prove the globe, and then it said 10 reasons on why the Earth is a globe.
What is that, Professor Dave Numpty Dipshits? Like,
It does sound like Dave, doesn't it?
I'll bet you it is. Who'd you get that from?
Yes, it's a globe.
Globe card.
Is it from Professor Dave Explains?
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Professor Dave's not a professor. Ty.
Hold on.
Hold on, I have science man then.
QE's not going to wait around forever. I'm gonna hand it back over to QE. Go ahead, QE.
No, I don't have anything to say unless he could show an elevation angle with a curved baseline. All this other nonsense, mindless parroted nonsense, was academic. Simple.
I got a guy on Twitter, QE, that claims that he was using numpty before you were.
Numpty's a British thing. I got it off those British guys.
Yeah, but you've been using it for as long as I can remember.
Oh yeah, years and years. I don't really care who. I'm sure other people said numpty before I did. I'm not British.
The dipshit part's yours.
Definitely.
Exclamation point.
Yeah, doesn't matter anyway. Like I said, get back, focus. Poncho Pete. Wow, that's the name I haven't heard or read in many, many years. I'm sorry, I read that in chat from Flat Earth Professor Dude. He posted Poncho Pete.
Is that who came up with numpty?
He was using
Oh
numpty.
no, it was
where I learned the numpty from was Poncho. Back in 20.
Okay, there's an assistant AI bot. It says, does celestial navigation assume a flat Earth? And this
There you
is
go.
no, celestial navigation does not assume a flat Earth. It is based off the principles of spherical trigonometry, which I don't know much of.
That's a contradiction in
What?
There is no spherical trigonometry. What is trigonometry?
I'm really not sure. Is it letters in math?
It's the study of triangles. We already defined a triangle.
That's it. That's the entire thing of trigonometry. It's the study
of
triangles.
triangles. Yes.
Wow, I didn't know it was that complicated, or just triangle.
Not that complicated. No, not at all. It's a study of triangles. So if you place an adjective in front of that word that contradicts the name of the base word, it's a paradox.
You can't have round triangles.
Okay, well, it says spherical trigonometry, which take into the account the fact that Earth is an oblate spheroid.
Oh, now it's an oblate spheroid. Well, you're going to have to call NASA and have them redact 50 years of showing their spheretard.
A sphere that is slightly flattened at the poles and bulging
It's
at the
not.
equator.
It's not. Then you're going to have to, I say again, this is just meaningless drivel anyway, because you haven't showed a curved baseline or a curved adjacent to a triangle. So this is all, like I said, it's all academic anyway, but this is just being particular. Trigonometry is a study of triangles. You already mentioned I already mentioned, and you agreed, the angle sum property of a triangle is 180 degrees. You can't have triangles greater than 180 degrees. The spherical part, it's a paradox. It's a married bachelor. Simple as that. It's
Okay,
like
well,
atmosphere.
this means the Earth's surface deviates slightly from her.
You know what? We're not going to listen to any more of your horse shit. You're just mindlessly parroting fucking wiki when you're already debunked. You tracking? Don't care what they say.
We know what they
Already
say.
over.
Throwing shit at the wall.
Yep.
Throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks.
And
So,
this deviation must be taken into account.
so this deviation, boy, you got a lot of passion there. Did you call NASA and have them redact all of their fuckwit images for the past 50 years, showing it's a spheretard and not an oblate spheroid?
It's an I think we already know it's an oblate spheroid.
You already know it. How do you know it?
Did you measure the curvature?
No,
Oh my god!
I want to see the oblique sphere.
I'm saying we've probably known it for a little while.
Now they probably known it.
Now, probably.
I'll look up how long they known it.
How long they known
How
what?
long?
Stop the cap.
Stop the cap.
Yeah, I swear to God.
Stop the
How
cap.
long they known? Have you been listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Yeah.
Yeah. So NASA has been posting images for the past 50 years of a spheretard, not an oblate spheretard, a spheretard. What are you going to do with that?
It's not very noticeable.
Oh, it's not noticeable. Then how do you know what it is?
How long have we known the Earth is an oblate
spheretard? How long have you known? What's the length of time have to do with anything about what something is or isn't?
Make sure you adjust for time zones.
Can somebody post some images of the spheretard?
Let me see if I got any.
In 3rd century BC, Hellenistic astronomy established the roughly spherical shape of Earth as a physical fact and calculated the Earth's circumference. This knowledge was gradually adopted throughout the Old World during the late Aquitian.
Really? How'd they do that? Wiki parroter. How'd they do that?
I'm not sure, man.
Then why are you reading it? All right, there's some photos. No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Images of there's some NASA images in here. This doesn't look like an oblate spheretard. Miguel Soso posted an oblate spheroid next to an actual NASA photo. Do these two match up at 20 minutes after the hour?
Looking for it.
Right here, 20 minutes after the hour, Miguel Sosa.
You're tagged in it too, so you should be able.
I'm
If you highlight it.
195 new messages away.
Just scroll all the way down, and then pop up just a little bit.
Well, it's not that oblate.
What's oblate?
Strawberry Earth, banana moon, and annoying orange.
No.
I mean, all these images seem pretty similar, man. Secret Asian man. Who is Secret Asian man?
It's a secret.
As a friend of mine.
Yeah, I should have seen that coming.
Do you know what is interesting on that Earth images?
Oh,
The
yeah, and by the
size of
way,
the size of continents changing.
even if the Earth
Did you
was
hear me?
flat, you would
Did you
still
hear,
see curvature.
did you hear me? What did I say?
What?
On that images, the size of the continents changing.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
What? Wait a second. What did he say?
Why would you see curvature on a flat Earth? Please elaborate.
Back it up.
Well,
What the hell did you just say?
if you
Flat,
didn't,
we would still see curvature? Did you say that?
yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Really? That's a contradiction in terms. Flat is horizontal. Horizontal
Well,
has
is
no
the
curvature. What is the
the
slope?
Earth round like a pizza?
Oh God. It's round like a pizza now. Then it was an oblate
What?
spheroid. This is getting kind of tedious in a retard type of sense, don't you think?
Y'all are making fun of me for a thing that I said, and I'm trying to prove that the thing I said is correct.
You're
Well,
trying to prove it.
you have a picture in your mind of what you think flat Earth looks like, right?
Yeah, 9 different ones.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Let's go this route. This is going to be a lot of fun. What define curvature?
Not flat.
No, you can't tell me what something not is. Like if somebody asks you what a banana is and you say it's not transmission fluid, that's not the fucking definition. I'm sorry for swearing.
Do you want me to look up the definition of curvature?
Yeah,
Sure.
shouldn't you already know it?
The fact
That's
of
not.
something being curved to a degree which something is curved.
Oh, wow.
Final
Having the,
curvature.
yeah, that's curvature, right? That's incorrect.
That's the entire dictionary.
That's your stuttering. That's not the definition of curvature. You have the name or the word inside the definition.
Okay, how is curvature defined? This is probably what y'all was looking for. The rate of change in direction of a curve with respect to distance along the curve. That meant nothing to me.
Yeah. So from the United States Naval Academy, 24 minutes after the hour, the curvature is the rate of change of slope. So it is a second derivative of the elevation surface. Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
words there, but it's correct.
It's not really a lot. Slope is a measure of change in elevation.
I mean, they're very specific. They're good words. It's a great definition. I like it.
I know what it means. I don't know the definition.
Well, we already
It's a change of
stated the
slope.
definition. So
Yeah, okay.
level. So the definition. Let's go through this. The definition of level
It's flat.
and
And what?
horizontal.
Okay,
From
but
Cambridge.
in the flat model, what does the
There
Earth
is no
look like?
flat model.
There is
We're
no
going
flat
over
model.
definitions. Don't red herring fallacy away. There's a point here. So at 25 minutes after the hour, level from Cambridge Dictionary. Not rising or falling or higher on one side, but even in all directions. Horizontal or flat. You said that you can have flat or horizontal on a sphere, but horizontal has a slope of 0. You follow that?
You're thinking in two-dimensional.
I'm thinking in two-dimensional. There is nothing two-dimensional in this reality.
Well, that's what you're thinking in.
That's not what I'm thinking of. Horizontal. What is the slope of a horizontal line, please?
0, but at that horizontal...
0. Not any buts.
You're thinking of an X, Y, and Z axis.
So now you're divining what I'm thinking. Where'd you come from?
You're talking about an X, Y, and Z axis.
So, no, we're talking about you divining my thoughts.
Okay.
So, did you come from a carnival? Like guessing people's weights or barking for the yak woman?
Okay, if I cut a circle...
If I take a horizontal line with a slope of 0 and you say it has curvature, which curvature is defined as having a slope, that's a frigging paradox.
Love of God, let me talk.
Fuck off. Let your dumb ass talk? Your little weaky parroting ass talk? I don't think so. You've already been debunked about 8 times since I've been sitting in here. Go educate yourself or bring your dad in here, Mr. Science Teacher on the farm. Let's see if he knows what science is. Natural science, by the way. Not science like knowing, right? None of that equivocation bullshit. Natural. Let's try you. What is natural science?
I don't know.
Oh, God.
What is it? You seem to know.
I seem to know?
They're asking me, so you must
Yeah,
know.
the systematic study of the physical and natural world via observation and experimentation.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, sounds pretty good, right?
Yeah.
What's the scientific evidence? What is, please provide one shred of scientific evidence for the spinning ball space monkey religion. Be very careful with the next words.
And evidence for it?
I want scientific evidence for the globe.
Using the scientific method.
Oh, you're hesitating. That's
This
a big
is tricky.
problem.
I'm not hesitating.
That's a big problem because you should have already stated it. Are you thinking?
Thinking.
You're already exposed.
Okay, well. Really?
You know why?
Why?
You don't. Why? Because the scientific method only adjudicates natural cause and effect relationships. The question when I ask it about the globe, that's not a cause and effect relationship. That's an existence question. The scientific method doesn't adjudicate existence questions. So what you should have said almost immediately was, hey, QE, that's a malformed question. Why? Because it can't be adjudicated by the scientific method. Heretofore, showing that you would fail 5th grade general science. How you like me now?
I'm not that high above it. I'm only 2 grades.
You'd still fail it. You need to go back and do it again.
I'll put it to you in a basic form, Ty. Like if you were looking at a box and you divined that box was a cube, in shape. Is that a science question or is that a math question?
That would be a math question?
Ding, ding, ding. So when you're talking about triangles and like celestial navigation or trigonometry, it's not a matter of science, it's math. And that's what QE was trying to basically circle you around to. You keep bringing science. You keep bringing science up, and this isn't science. They lied to you. It's not science. Did I say that well, QE? Was that all right?
Yeah, I suppose.
Appreciate it.
Yep. It's all over.
Math is what it is. Science is what it is.
So
The shape.
I'm going to cut him some slack because he's in 7th grade.
Really, 8th. I'm going into 8th.
You're going into 8th. I'll cut you some slack. You don't have enough experience.
No, he learned what the scientific model was 2 years ago. So. Or I should say a year and a half ago or whatever.
Yep. Well, he should know it better than most people in here, right? He's not that far
My school
removed
is
from it.
extremely small, so science class actually kind of sucked.
QE,
Let me ask.
Can you tell him what is not science? That he got a picture. That would be nice, because he's young.
What is not science?
Yeah.
Badminton.
No, I'm
Engineering.
saying
the most fucking obscure fucking thing.
no, all that things what they're calling science. What is not science?
The things that they're calling that incoherent they call science. And if you go to university, you'll walk under the arches, right, of science departments, but they're not actual sciences. They're demonstrable pseudosciences. Here's the list: paleontology, anthropology, archaeology, geology, evolutionary biology, whatever the fuck that is. And yes, I'm still
Yes, I'm still laughing.
Theoretical physics, astronomy, cosmology, and astrophysics are all demonstrable pseudosciences.
I mean, I know for a fact that evolution itself is a thing.
Oh, God. Really?
Do so.
No.
There's a
What?
plant
Evolution?
called
What the hell
careless
is that?
weeds, and used to.
Evolution? What the hell is that?
Well, evolution is whenever anything is born, really, a human or a plant.
No, it's not. I need the scientific theory of evolution. I need you to cite that in live stream. And now I need you to identify the actual scientific hypothesis that validated evolution as a scientific theory, please.
Can I just explain to you what evolution is?
You didn't explain it. We don't give a shit about explanations. Village idiots provide explanations without support. So listen to what I'm going to tell you right now. I want the scientific theory of evolution cited right now. And then I need the hypothesis, independent, dependent variable that validated into an actual scientific theory. You see the dovetail, right? With the general theory of relativity. I'm asking for the same things. So
Descent with modification.
Do it and do it now.
Darwin defined evolution.
I don't give a fuck what he defined evolution as. I want the scientific theory of evolution posted in live stream right now.
Tell him what he believes. In which
You're like in 8th grade. You're like Little Miss Muffet going up against King fucking Kong.
QE.
Yeah, I'm gonna step away
I've
from
literally
this.
never tried curds and whey. I've
Tell
never
him.
tried.
I'm gonna step away from it because he's in 8th grade. This is not my target audience.
It's not fair,
I'm not
man. It's
good
not.
with them.
QE, it's not.
It's
I'm
just
with you.
this is not my playing field.
I can give y'all an example of evolution.
I didn't ask you for an
No.
example. I asked you for the scientific theory of evolution. Don't be providing examples ahead of what you're defining.
Descent with modification.
Like I
There's no proof of it, man.
fucking cation.
I can give y'all an example
No, you can't. Scientific theory of evolution is not descent with modification
that
because that's not
affected
a
my
scientific
life
theory.
personally.
All right, listen. I put him on mute. Like I said, I can't deal with this. It's not going to end well. And I don't think he should be exposed to this just yet. So I'm gonna leave you fine folks to it. Okay.
Hey, guys, QE. I think you did well, mate.
Yeah, I appreciate you stopping in here.
Yeah, man, that was
And
cool.
yeah, you bit your tongue on a lot, man. You were very nice to this kid, I think. So.
Yeah, and it's
As
not
nice
gonna
as
go
you get.
well after this. So
Oh.
I'll recuse myself. So have a good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
Hang in there.
God bless you,
Yeah, see you,
QE.
mate.
Sleep well.
I'll unmute him for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. It's not the kid's fault that he ran into QE tonight.
No, it's not.
You know,
No.
if
Well,
he ran into me, man, it probably would have gone a hell of a lot different. But you know, I'm glad he got some QE time in. That was
yeah. And you did well, kid.
I've
Don't feel
never
like
had
you.
people be rude to me before.
no, it's just
No, that's just QE, man. Like QE has a very direct nature. He's very direct.
like, you know, he's
He
talking
doesn't have time for any shit.
No, and he's gonna treat you like anybody else, man. He's not being extra special to you or whatever.
Okay, well, would y'all like my explanation?
Well, before I do that, I have a question, a specific question.
Hello?
Because if you were a PhD in science, Ty, we would want to know what your dissertation was. But we know you're not a PhD in science, but you did do a science experiment recently, right? Like in school for science. Did you have to like do a full model science experiment?
No.
You never had to do one before? You never had to like demonstrate the scientific method or like sometimes the teacher will even say, hey,
Nothing
you
that would
can
really have ever to do with flat Earth.
no, I'm saying
You're
like
glitching out.
I'm glitching out.
Did you ever boil some water? Scientific experiment, boiling water.
Yeah, we're just
I
talking about
boiled
science in
water to make
general.
noodles. Not as a science experiment, though. I know exactly what happens when you boil water.
What do you think the variables are in boiling water, man? What are the two variables? Got a chance to answer those?
I'm not sure. I just know that when you boil water, you get water hot enough to where it turns into a gas.
How do you boil water?
What makes the water boil?
Well, the water eventually reaches a high enough heat.
A heat.
To where it turns into a gas.
What causes heat?
What causes heat?
Well, in atoms
Maybe a
shaking,
fire?
atoms vibrating.
Maybe a fire?
Nope, I have an electric stove.
You have an electric stove, so there's energy involved in it, right?
Hmm.
So you apply energy to it, it creates heat. That heat then boils the water, right?
Hmm.
There's your variables. That's what I'm talking about.
Those are your materials, man.
Variables.
I mean,
Now looking at that, you could have a hypothesis, right? You could say, hey, I hypothesize that heat would make the water boil, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because
So, like, let's
and
say
your
you apply,
hypothesis would immediately be correct.
well, let's say you apply a little bit of heat and the water doesn't boil. Does that mean that your hypothesis is wrong?
No.
You have to apply
That's,
more heat, right?
yeah.
Right. So as you apply heat, you're manipulating that heat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's your independent variable. That's what you manipulate to prove whether or not something is doing something.
And pseudoscientists will tell you this: if you take ice and make a lot of pressure, then ice will make energy, and ice will boil the water. And then you
You're
say,
saying
okay,
ice or
okay, and
I?
then you say, okay, it makes sense, and you never tested that. You never put the ice under the whatever. You never do that like that. I said some shit things,
You
and
just made
then
something up.
you realize, look, fuck, I'm putting more and more ice and it doesn't want to boil.
Yeah. It's not boiling,
And then
man.
then you
Why?
try with heat and it's boiling. And then you have what you have. Then you know the cause of the effect.
Right. That would be your control, right? Like your control would be, okay, so heat causes water to boil. What happens if I add cold to the water? And the way to make it cold is you add ice, right?
Yeah.
And then you do things like you manipulate the energy, take more away to make it colder and colder and colder, and then the water freezes and it doesn't boil. Well, now you have a control. Cold doesn't make the water boil. Heat makes the water boil. So when you say gravity, right, what are you manipulating in your scientific experiment to prove that gravity is a thing? Can you drop something, and if it normally falls, can you change gravity and make it go up?
No, you can't change gravity.
Right.
What about a hot air balloon or a helium balloon? Don't they go
Well,
up?
you can take less helium out of the balloon and it won't go up.
But why does the helium balloon go up?
Well, because the gas that is inside that balloon is lighter than air, so therefore it goes up.
And what is with the object? What is going down? Is it more dense than air?
Sorry?
Is the
Is
thing
it?
you're dropping more dense than air, like a rock? It's more dense than air, so
You
it
said
goes.
that helium is lighter. Is it the object now? What is falling down more dense or lighter?
It would be more dense
That's
and
why it's
heavier.
falling down.
Heavier than
That's
air.
yeah.
Heavier than
What will
air.
what will happen with the things what is heavier than air?
They will all fall.
Why?
Because heavier than air will fall to
Why
the ground.
why?
Because gravity pulls on it harder than it does the air. So it would go
What?
through.
But helium is going up.
But helium goes up. Well,
Yeah.
gravity doesn't pull on helium as much as it does the air. So the air gets pulled down, and the
What? No,
helium goes up.
no. That's two directions. You said that gravity is pulling down. Now it's pulling up.
It's not pulling up. It's just not pulling hard enough to make it not go up. Gravity only pulls. It doesn't push.
Are you saying that something what is never pulling something? And you said that helium is lighter and it's going up, but for things going down, there is a gravity, even if they are more dense than air.
We already went through this anyway.
Yeah. And Timbo established earlier that like the higher up you go, the less gravity there is, but yet it's still holding all of the gases in. You would think that there would be more gravity because it would be harder to hold all that stuff in.
And it's no longer the definition of gravity It's no longer the accepted definition of gravity.
And there's
We
no
went through
science
these.
experiment. Yeah, there's no science experiment that proves gravity. That's the whole point.
And in relativity, there is no pulling down.
It's just the bending and warping of space time. But there's no scientific theory involved in that. Like there was no formulated hypothesis and then experimentation to prove it. Like Quantum Eraser said.
Mic check.
You're good, dude.
Hello. We hear you.
Oh,
Ty.
Okay,
So
who's that? Average?
happy
Globe
things.
or flat?
Oh, shit.
That was spiraling.
That was
Oh.
average. Who's average? Okay, you lost your privileges, my dude.
Me?
No,
Nah,
you.
average.
Average. His name is Average. He's right above you.
Ah.
It's all good. He's muted. Carry on.
Guy in the hat?
He burped in the microphone rudely.
Yeah, that was kind of rude.
So yeah, man. You never did any science experiment ever?
I mean,
Like you
not
never
really.
did a chemistry experiment? Like
Yeah, we don't
converting
really have
energy?
chemistry in my school.
Like converting energy?
One time, in like church or something, I made elephant's toothpaste.
You made what?
Elephant's toothpaste.
Elephant's toothpaste? How'd you do that?
It was a long time ago. I forgot.
Okay, but you mixed a bunch of chemicals together and then it made it another chemical structure, right?
No, you mix the chemicals together to make a reaction that makes it expand.
Right. So you know how to do that. Like, you probably seen YouTube videos on how to make homemade bubbles, right?
How to make homemade bubbles?
Yeah, like using different chemicals, like I don't know what chemicals do they use to make homemade bubbles or homemade slime. Homemade slime, they use glue and
My sisters made that stuff before. I never really made it.
right. So that's kind of like
Volcano.
a science experiment. You're manipulating stuff.
Cause and effect. That's what we're looking for here.
You're transferring energy.
We study that quite intensely around here.
You'll hear a lot about the second law of thermodynamics.
What is it?
Well, go ahead and look it up. See what it says.
Second law.
Okay.
Thermodynamics.
I know we're making you do a lot of work, man, but like it's
know,
important
man.
for you to see it with your own eyes.
This is like being in school, by the way.
I've heard of it. I've heard of the second law of thermodynamics.
Mm-hmm. What was the answer that you got?
Hot things always cool unless you do something to stop them.
All right. So hot goes to cold, high pressure goes to low pressure.
Yeah.
Excellent. We love gas pressure around here. Are you familiar with gas pressure at all, by chance?
Yeah.
What would be a good example of gas pressure? You got one?
Tires.
The tire. I like that one.
IPSI.
It's one of my favorites. Tires. So we live here on Earth, right?
Yeah.
And here, where we are breathing, most of you will experience about 14 psi. Right here, right on the ground, right? I don't know if you live by the ocean. It's 14.7 at the ocean.
I live in southern Oklahoma.
So yeah, you're probably like at maybe 12 or something. I don't know. 11.
I think it's like 800 feet above sea level. I know it's 600 in Dallas, so
it's not much of a difference.
Have y'all ever tried to walk up stairs in a very high altitude? It kills you.
Well, walking up a bunch of stairs will kill just about anybody, man. It's not in shape.
Especially old,
Well, no, in low
especially
altitude, I can
dudes.
go up about a flight or two of stairs and I'll be fine. But in high altitude, it just
When I was your age,
annihilates you.
I could do 100 flights of stairs, no problem.
Going 66,000 miles per hour through vacuum also will kill you.
I think he's talking about the difference between the air pressure. Yeah.
So you think that
at high
there's going to
elevation.
be a big air pressure difference, like in 100, 200-story building at the top and at the bottom? Is it going to? How much is it going to be? Do you think?
I don't think it affected that much.
Right.
Really.
But if we go up, like, let's say 10,000 feet, we
Yeah,
definitely.
no, I don't think I'm going to be able to breathe anymore. If I can, it's not going to be very good. I'm going to have to tell you.
I've been to 14,000 feet. It's the highest I've ever been, man. And the air was thin, man. It was thin. But there was still pressure, even, 14,000. But, so in order, I don't know if you know what a necessary antecedent is, but it's a necessary component, basically, to gas pressure is the container itself, like the tire or the inner tube inside the tire, whatever. You have to have walls in order to create pressure at all. If you don't have walls, you can't create pressure. Do you follow me with that?
Yeah. But Gravity X has a wall. That's just how it works.
That's a claim. Oh, that's a claim. Now
What's it bouncing off of when it goes up?
We need a scientific experiment that can show that. Do you have one of those handy by chance?
No.
What
demonstration?
What's it bouncing
Are
off
you
when it goes
glitching out,
up?
or did you just stop talking?
Demonstration of gas pressure without a container, please. Thank you.
Ty, what's it bouncing off of when the air goes up?
Nothing.
Whoa.
Right.
You'd have no pressure.
Because it's the molecule or the air, the gas, is bouncing off of its container, right? Like, oh, gravity acts as its container, but gas goes in all directions. So when it goes up, it has to bounce off of something in order to have pressure to come back down, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Did you look up the definition of gas pressure?
I know what that is. I'll look it up, though.
Tell me if it's got the word gravity in it.
Gas pressure is the force exerted by gaseous molecules as they collide with the walls of their container.
Good answer. And that ties in with the second law of thermodynamics, right? Do you know about the second law of thermodynamics, Ty?
Yeah, heat.
No, not the second law of thermodynamics, the second law of motion. The first law of motion is an object that stays at rest until a force is acted upon it. The second law is an object in motion stays in motion until a force is acted upon.
That one's
Right. So if a gas is going upward, it would continue to go upward until there's something that would redirect it back down, right? There'd have to be a physical force acting onto it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where is that physical force? And I heard you yawn.
Firmament. Doesn't Flat Earth have like a firmament that's supposed to keep all the air in?
It's a container. There's a container. Some people call it a firmament.
That's what I've heard it called mostly.
Some people call it a vault. Some people call it an expanse.
But not flat earther, the gas pressure.
You still need a container. You need a physical barrier.
Why is any of the gas pressure higher on the bottom?
Because that's where all the gas is made at the ground level.
Okay.
Right. That's where it's
Even the
made.
dynamic system, we have cycles, like the the water cycle and the nitrogen.
You know what's funny about the water cycle? You can actually create rain inside of a jar. There's YouTube videos on how to do it. But the funny thing is, it requires a container. Like rain, in order to make rain, you have to have a container as well. And even though rain comes from the clouds, and then the container may likely be much higher, you're still requiring a container. It's pretty cool.
Hello.
Hello. What's going on?
Hello.
Oh, real quick, I just wanted to say, Ty, like you've been a super trooper tonight, dude. You don't have
Yeah.
to stay up all night with us.
No doubt.
I heard you yawn, and if you're tired, you're welcome to go and come back. We're here 24/7, so you're always welcome to come back.
Yeah, I wasn't ever really planning.
You,
It's kind of fun
You-
being on here.
you
Who's
were
the new
not
person?
planning. You're not planning on coming back? Is that what you said?
I'll probably come back. Yeah.
Well, you don't have to, man. But you know, you're welcome to. Shit. The guy was just being nice to you. Jeez.
If I
Take it.
don't feel like coming back, I will not be coming back.
Well, I mean, if you like to talk about where you live, guess what? We live on Earth. We can check out Earth because we live here. And we can check it out all day, every day, man. And we can do it walking around, walking our dog, you know, watching grass grow, whatever, man. We can do it. It's right here. It's all right in front of us. So if you like to talk about where we live, this is the greatest place on Earth to talk about Earth. So
No, I'll tell you from my heart to you, it's an honor to talk to you, man. I appreciate you coming in here and having a lot of thick skin, man, because you know it can be tough being the only Glober.
well, he's not a Glover, and he's starting to look at where he lives, man. He's becoming an Earther, man. We live
Right,
on
you're
Earth.
becoming an Earther.
You're an Earther, man. Welcome to Earth. Earth. We can check out Earth, man. It's so cool to check out gas pressure, or light, or trees. Yeah, there's cool stuff here to check out.
But you see kind of where we come from too, though, right? Like in your mind, there's not a like when you go out in the world, there's not a whole lot of flat earthers. You go up to people, hey, what do you think the Earth is? Is it flat or is it a ball? And you know, most people will come up to you and say, oh, it's a ball. So you could understand the difficulty we might have where, like, if we say, oh, the Earth is flat out in public, you know, 300 people are going to turn around and be like, no, it's not. And they're going to all jump down your throat, you know, all at the same time. So it'd be you one versus 300 people. So, you know, in the same sense, you walked into our home and, you know, like kudos to you for sticking
Yeah,
around
man.
and asking questions.
I got one more question, Ty.
What do you want, man?
What's the circumference of Earth without looking it up? Do you know it?
No.
How far is the moon away? Do you know it off the top of your head?
No.
Okay. What about the sun? Do you know how far the sun is from you right now?
Nope.
Nope. All right.
I know it takes 8 minutes for the light to reach us.
There you go. You're right. That's what they say.
Just at midnight.
That's what they tell us. And they tell us that the sun is 93 million miles away.
Ah, yeah.
And the moon is 238,000 miles away.
Very much farther away than you would think.
That's what they tell us. Go outside and look at it. Tell me, how do you know that's 238,000 miles away?
Yeah.
You have you got to trust your own eyes, man. Look at it. Watch it set. Watch it rise. Watch the different phases of the moon. Get yourself some binoculars and go look at it, man, up close. It's cool.
Let me ask you this, Ty. So
Yeah.
you're looking at the sun. You're looking at the sun, right? It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's hot because it's July, and I know where you're coming from because I got a mom. My mom lives up in Denison, so I know all about Southern Oklahoma. I'm looking up at the sky. It's hot, right? It's 98, 102 degrees outside, 98 degrees, whatever. And all of a sudden, a cloud passes in front of the sun, and that sun that was 93 million miles away, just because the cloud passed in front of it, it drops like 5 degrees, 10 degrees instantly.
Yep. You can
How
check that out
crazy
for
is that?
yourself. You don't have to believe either one of us or anybody in here.
How
I mean,
crazy that a little
guys,
cloud right there would
One
change the
little
temperature
cloud changed my temperature by 5 degrees instantly.
well,
on a
Pretty
ball
cool.
that was
because the
93
cloud
million
got in
miles away.
front of the light, and the light was very hot.
That's right. That light is hot, man. Especially this time of year, man. That shit is blazing, man. Damn.
That's why shade tree is so awesome,
We love shade trees, man.
because it's
They're
not
here.
direct.
Heck yeah.
Hey, let me ask you, man. Has NASA taken a picture of a tree on any other planet or anything in the solar system? Just one picture of one tree
Or a bush.
somewhere out there in amongst
No, a
that.
habitable planet is extremely rare.
So they don't have any pictures of even one tree on another planet. Is that what you're telling me?
Not that I've seen.
Exactly. This is where we live, man. We live amongst the trees and the grasses and all this other cool stuff.
And
And
if we didn't live here, we would live somewhere else.
well, I don't think we could live anywhere else because they haven't shown us a picture of one single tree. This is it. This is the center of
There is nowhere
existence.
else. Yeah.
Yeah, we
There's
can't even
nowhere else to
leave.
go.
Venus and Mars used to be just like us.
That's what they tell
No
us.
way.
No.
How
Well,
do you
that's what
know
they
that?
said. Yeah.
That's what they. You got to remember. That's
And
what they
then Mars
told
the
us.
lost
story.
its atmosphere,
How did
That's
and
how did they
Venus.
prove that?
story.
How did they
That's
prove
the
that?
story.
How did they prove that, Ty? How did they prove that Venus and Mars used to be just like
They might not even said that, but I've seen that, and well,
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, you're right, man.
But at least you're honest.
We haven't seen it either. That's the problem. That's why we're here. Actually, we haven't seen that stuff.
We see you said the key thing. I haven't seen that, or I don't think I've read that, but I whatever. You gave an honest answer.
It was very
If
honest.
somebody who thought the same way that you did was 20 years older, they would never admit that.
Exactly. You're doing great. So the circumference of Earth is 24,901 miles. So we can take that measurement and get a radius, right?
mm-hmm.
It's 3,959 miles. Is
To
the
the center of the
radius.
earth.
You tracking with me on that radius thing?
Heck yeah.
Okay. So we can take that number of the radius and we can determine how far it drops from point A to point B, right?
You draw
We
two
can
radius.
calculate that. We can calculate that radius,
Call it an arc.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You tracking with my calculations on that one?
Yeah, produce.
Okay, so in order to see across the ocean, if we were out 100 miles, how far below the horizon should the horizon? How far below the line you see? How far down does it go at 100 miles?
Like how far below the horizon
I-
should an object be?
At 100 miles, you know how far 100 miles is. You got a sense for 100 miles? I don't know if you drive a car yet. Probably not, but maybe you've been on a 100-mile road trip. It takes a while to get there, man, if you're on the road, right?
I've driven a car before, the Hoppensack.
Okay, so
It's
I mean, it takes a while to go 100 miles. It takes a few hours, you know.
I haven't.
So anyway, that drop, according to the 3959, at just 100 miles, is almost 7,000 feet. And the funny thing about the Pythagorean theorem is that it's exponential. It gets squared every mile. It gets squared. So at 200 miles, that thing's going to be like so far below the horizon. I mean, it would be ridiculous to see 200 miles. I mean, it's like 28,000 feet at 200 miles, right? So we can
Yeah.
measure that from, they gave us the number of 24,901 miles. We got the radius from that. And then we started breaking it down even farther. Well, how far can I see at 1 mile or 2 or 10 or 20 or 100? We got the actual, all the numbers from the ball. And then we went out and checked the ball. And it turns out we can see way farther than we should be able to see. So therefore, our conclusion is that if it's either a giant, much bigger ball, or it's flat, like water always possesses the ability to lay flat when undisturbed. I don't know if you know that, but you pour yourself a glass of water, look at the top of it, it's flat. Put yourself in a swimming pool, it's flat. Ocean's flat. So you can check these things out yourself. You know, I know you're in Oklahoma, but you probably got some big lakes there somewhere, right?
Actually, every single lake in Oklahoma was made by a dam.
Right.
There are no
Yeah.
natural lakes in Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's kind of deserty, kind of. I think they call it a
There's
errant.
a place called No Man's Land.
It's an
It's
errant
the
desert,
Panhandle.
similar to California. Anyway, so yeah, bodies of water lay flat. You don't have to believe me. You'll check it out later in life. You know, you'll get to the ocean eventually.
I've been there once.
All right.
It was
Yeah,
fun,
it's
but I
flat,
got
man.
tire rash.
It's totally flat. You know.
Yeah, but you didn't go there thinking that the Earth was flat either. So the next time you go there, you need to go out there and remember, like, oh yeah, is the Earth flat? And look out there and see if you can find any curvature.
Yep. We're
pretty
looking
cool,
for the
man.
curve. We're looking for the curve, and I hate to bring up an old quote of yours, but you did say that if the Earth was flat, we would still see curvature. I got to kind of rib you on that one a little bit.
Well, can I explain?
Can
I
you
never
take
really
that
got
back? You want to take it back? That would be cool. But I'll give you a
Nope,
chance.
no,
to
I'm
take it
taking
back.
that back because I never got a chance to explain myself.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So let's say you go way high. Let's just
Way
go
high.
directly up extremely high.
Way high.
What would you see? Would it just
Flat.
be a straight line that goes on for seemingly forever?
Yeah, it's called a vanishing point, and the human eye can only see so far, and things
No,
get
go
compressed.
higher up. Go higher up then.
You can
Well,
only see so far.
Well,
You would eventually see an end to that line.
No, you
I
can't
don't
see
think
forever,
you
man.
can. That's a fallacy, man. I think that's an imaginary Disneyland kind of explanation of how the human eye works.
You're explaining that you can see forever, but your eye's vision can only see so far. You can only resolve like
If I take
certain images
Dude,
so much.
let me ask you this, Ty. If I took a penny and said, "Here, man, I'm gonna hold this penny next to your eye," and you'd be like, "Okay, that's a 1962 penny, okay," and I start walking away, when do you think if I just hold the penny out in my hand, how far away do I have to get where you know that what you can't see what the hell I'm holding? How far? End of the street? A mile?
Not that far. Not
Not
that
that
far.
far, right? I think it would be like maybe 150 feet, maybe 200. I don't know. It wouldn't be that far, but we could test it. We can test your eyesight. You can do it yourself.
If you're holding a sign, though, I can see that from a way farther away.
Yeah, but if I walk 100 miles away, you're going to see it? No, don't be ridiculous. You can't see that far.
And aside from that, like is it? Do you think you can see forever because you can see all the stars in the sky?
Good question.
No.
Because I mean, when I look at the stars in the sky, I
Really,
just see
anything that touches your light? Yeah, any light that touches your eyes?
Your retina,
Right.
yeah.
But
So
they'll tell you
technically,
that
yes, you
they'll tell
technically
you
can see forever.
they'll tell
Oh,
you
no,
that
no,
a
no, no,
star.
wait. Here's the same thing,
They'll,
man. I take a flashlight and I walk away from you. How far do you think I'm going to get before you can't see my flashlight?
I don't know, man.
100 miles? 200?
But no, less.
Less. Okay.
Probably about less than a mile.
I'm going to say like 1.5 miles. You're going to maybe 2?
you can see flashlights a little bit further because they do those
Yeah, I mean,
light
it
tests,
depends. Again, it depends on the angle, and if it's all
the brightness
flat,
of the light.
it would be, that would be one thing.
But
But
like
can I
they tell
explain
you,
myself though?
Ty, they'll tell you that like one, looking at one star in the sky, they'll be like, that star is 33 million light years away. That means it would take the speed of light 33 million years just to get to that star.
So you're seeing that star 33 million years in the past. That's
Correct.
insane.
That's
That's
insane.
absurd.
Exactly. It's insane, Ty.
Not actually insane, but yeah, that's a pretty
It's
crazy
insane.
fact.
No. It is insane, man. I mean, that's what they tell us, bro. I'm not kidding you. That's what they tell us,
Well,
and
some things are insane.
well, that's okay. I agree with you, but you know, we also love reality, objective reality. Reality we can test, and we can't test how far a star is, man. We can bounce that shit out the window, but we can test how.
And
We can test. Go ahead.
quick, dude, real quick, because earlier he was talking about like the lights in the sky and how everything was spherical and everything like that. And I wanted to kind of bring that back into picture because Quantum Eraser, he kind of jumped on you about it and he wouldn't let you talk about it. And I wanted to round this off to you. Like the things in the sky do not determine the things underneath your feet. So like if you walk into a room, right, and there's a bunch of light bulbs on the ceiling, those light bulbs on the ceiling have nothing to do with the ground underneath your feet.
But if it's a ball, you could see them like.
But the light bulb, just because the light bulb is in the shape of a ball, doesn't mean the ground under you is a ball.
You follow the reality of that logic? Are you following that?
You can have the pyramids and triangles in the sky and add good sphere, for example.
Yeah.
I just.
You think about that one for a while, Ty. I don't expect you to answer it right this second, but what's under our feet does not exactly represent what we see in the sky, man. That's just something to think about. No pressure. AI, are you trying to talk? I keep seeing you light up, man. I cannot hear you, bro.
He's not talking. I think he's got his mic open, but he's not talking.
Okay. I don't know if he's driving. He might be driving or something.
I don't know. He may be asleep. I wonder if are you asleep, AI?
Anyway, so yeah, what we stand on and what we see on Earth versus what we see in the sky are two different things, and just separate the two. That's all. Just things on here on Earth we can check out and manipulate, do tests, and take pictures, and we can do all
Back
kinds of
to the still
measurements.
seeing curvature thing.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you a question real quick. If
Sure.
I were to take a piece of paper and cut a circle at it, would that be a very rough estimate of what y'all think the Earth looks like?
Well,
No.
we live on Earth.
It wouldn't even be a rough estimate.
Here's the problem. None of us in this server right now or on any Discord server that I know of have ever seen the Earth in its entirety. Nobody.
Yeah.
And you have to, that's an objective reality statement. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but it's a fact. None of us have ever seen the entire Earth.
Right.
Period.
And even if you could get up high enough to see it, the sun only lights up so much of it, right? Like it's a small sun. It's not a large sun. Like don't think of the sun as a million times bigger than Earth, 93 million miles away, and then all of a sudden now you put it above you, and now all of a sudden you put it above you, and you still think the sun is a million times the size of Earth, but it's up right there above us in the sky. That's not how it works. You got to think of it much smaller, kind of like a street light. right? If you go outside and you see a street light and you walk away from that street light, is that street light lighting up like the whole Earth, or is it just lighting up what is underneath?
What's underneath, bro?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there's
Exactly.
some areas that like have nonstop sunlight for a certain amount of time, and it just does not work on the flat Earth.
But that's just because
Wow.
it's the sun is over that area.
Guess what? It works on Earth. Don't say flat Earth or ground Earth, but it works on Earth because we can check it out. And my friend, man, lives at 69 North, and he had a 24-hour sun, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And I saw it on
You don't
video on a
deny
live
it.
stream. He was live streaming. I was talking to him at the same time he was doing it. I'm like, dude, okay. We sat there for like a couple of days. We did this shit. And it was like, yep, 24-hour sun in the north, guaranteed. 24 hours in the south. There's definitely some
Or like 18 hours and it cuts off.
there's not a lot of footage of the south, but we got a lot of shit here in the north for sure.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Ty. If I asked you to pull out a piece of paper, right,
Yeah.
and get a pencil or marker or something like that, and I asked you to draw me the shape of flat, what would you draw?
A line.
A line?
A line. Okay.
Just a line.
Well,
That's all.
if you were up thousands of miles up in the air and I asked you to draw a shape of flat, what would you draw?
A line wouldn't change.
Well, I mean, but like like if you're looking at the table from above the table, right? A table is flat, right?
Mm.
Right. Like, but so how many different types of tables can you have? Can you
There's
have
a
an
lot
oval table?
of those, but most of them are all flat.
Can you have an oval table?
Yeah.
Can you have a square table?
Yes.
Rectangle?
Yeah.
Triangle?
Get to the
Semicircle?
get to your point.
There's no shape for flat. Flat is a feature. It's not a shape. Just like curve is a feature also.
Well, then surely once you got to high enough altitudes, you'd see a point. If it's not a perfect little circle, then you
Ball.
would see a point.
Spheroid. Spheroid, are you talking?
You'd see a little line, then a point, then a line.
Right. But
And
if you were if I told you to draw a flat, you said you would draw a line,
yeah.
right? Is a lake flat?
Yes. Usually
So
has
draw,
some little
so
things
draw
in
me
them.
a lake. Draw me a lake. Draw me the shape of a lake.
Draw a little line on top.
It's wherever the water meets the land, right?
Yeah.
Shoreline.
Yeah.
We call it the shoreline, right? That's also flat. Lines are flat. You mentioned that earlier. Shorelines flat. Horizons flat. Damn, that flat thing's that's a real troublemaker around here. I'll tell you.
I would like to talk about evolution.
Horizon?
I feel like I got really cut off whenever I was talking about that.
Well, this is a flat Earth server. We do talk about evolution. We'll talk about it, but
Evolution.
Okay, before we get into evolution, I'll let you talk about.
Come on now,
I'll
this
let
is
you.
Arena.
I'll let you talk about evolution, but let me explain this. Let me explain this to you, okay? So before we get into evolution, in order to get to evolution, you have to prove that the Big Bang happened. In order to prove the Big Bang happened, then you got to go and prove that we're flying through space. In order to do that, you have to prove that there's a sun established in the center of our solar system, that we're going around it and we're spinning around as we're going around it. And in order to do all that, you have to establish the fact that we are a ball with a circumference of 24,901 miles, with a diameter of 7,954 miles, or I think it's 56 miles. So yeah, you have to establish the ball first, and then from there, then you can start talking about us going around the sun, and then from there you can be like, okay, well, we're shooting through space because we're flying away
You're
from Big
glitching
Bang.
out.
I'm glitching out. I apologize.
Okay, you're no longer anymore. Okay.
So, and then from there, then maybe you can talk about evolution and that we've been around for 12 billion years. But you have to prove the ball first, man. Because if there's no ball, if we're not flying through space, then there's no evolution.
What's the
What is?
scientific experiment for evolution?
Can I just explain
You
what?
know what evolution is. You don't need to explain it.
We
Yeah,
know that.
I already know what it is.
Yeah, we know that, like, from
Even though
dirt there was lightning that was struck the ground, and then an amoeba was made, and that amoeba turned into
okay,
a fish, and then that fish turned into a monkey, and then we turned
I'm
into humans
not
from monkey.
talking about
Hey,
any of that. I just
You
want
want
to
to
explain to you
take
what
this,
my
Kim,
base
because
idea of evolution
that was your
is.
trigger word, wasn't it?
it was. That's right.
Yeah.
I was to get in on this.
Well,
So
what was my
go
trigger
ahead,
word?
nip it in the bud, real quick. So you can't have any kind of you remember they taught you about the second law of thermodynamics, right?
Yeah, cold going into hot.
Yeah, well, that's due to the law of entropy. That's why we have those kind of gas laws and pressure laws, and the law of entropy is very real, which entropy only goes one direction. Entropy only ever increases. So when it comes to this weird idea that somehow, on a micro level, things changed to and like leveled up, or that would mean that entropy decreased at some point, which is not possible. It only goes one way. So entropy alone will debunk any kind of false claims of evolution. Questions?
No.
And bear in mind, we were taught the same thing you were taught, so you don't need to tell us again.
No talking about evolution.
Well, you got to know what you're talking about, and everything based on evolution is incoherent, and it completely defies a natural law, which is impossible.
Like, what would be your point if we already know what evolution is? What would be your point for talking about it?
I just wanted to say that whenever anything is born, there is an extremely rare chance that there will be a mutation in their genetics. And
That
in the
doesn't mean
even
Right, but you got
in
to understand. I got to stop you there,
normally
dude. I work in healthcare, and anything that is mutated is deficient, and it does not thrive.
that's right.
A
It's not
mutation
some.
does not thrive.
It doesn't go from one state to being in a better state. It will only go from one state to it'll undergo digression, devolution, de-evolution. That's the only thing that you're gonna witness in nature, because entropy only goes one way.
Circumstances have to be perfect in order for an object to thrive, and anything other than that is a mutation.
well, my understanding of evolution is that
Is wrong.
there's a very rare chance that there will be a mutation in your genes. And there is a very rare chance that thing will do anything. And if it does, then most of the time it's bad. But in the
Right.
even rarer chance then it helps you, and it's good. You will populate more. You will.
As
It is
much as
extremely rare.
it's cool, it's a cool story, but X-Men is not real. Wolverine's not real. Cyclops is not real. There's no evolution.
Never said any of that was real.
Right. I'm just
Bean,
using
look,
it as an example for you.
Bean, look who is the father of Big Bang. Which scientist?
I don't think he's gonna know that,
Not
Sasha.
sure.
I'll have to look it up. Who invented the Big Bang Theory? You can
What
Google
theory?
that.
I don't know, man. I do not know this. I don't know
I
any of
know
this by the top of my head.
it's
Okay,
getting late.
it was
You
a
can look it
Jesuit
up. I'm giving you the question to look up, but go ahead, Flatsy.
matter. It's just a Jesuit Catholic priest that came up. So that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that it's demonstrable in nature that nothing can make entropy decrease whatsoever. That's what destroys the whole outer space claim, the vacuum of space adjacent to an open system. Can't happen because of the law of entropy. It's not possible.
Well,
And
energy is required to decrease entropy, right?
yeah, but that's like intelligence only. Not
Right.
it's not going to happen in nature alone by itself. But that's just the law of nature. It does not do that.
Right. Like if your room gets dirty, it's not going to clean itself.
Yeah, also like when you have let's say a cliff, it has a rock slide and those rocks break up into pieces on their way down. That will never be the same cliff again. It's not going to form back together at some point. Those rocks are not going to become anything more. They're only going to become like pebbles or sand after so long. They're not going to form back into rocks at any point because entropy only ever increases. You following?
Yeah, I guess.
That's just the point. You need to learn natural laws. You need to learn entropy inside and out because
Learning words,
nobody
buddy.
And the
nobody
radius, circumference, distance to the moon, distance to the sun, Polaris.
learn logical
You gotta,
fallacies.
you gotta learn
Learn
these everything
and learn.
about the globe.
Holy shit.
Go ahead.
You learn. You learn the scientific method. You learn
Logical
your
fallacy.
logical fallacy, and you also learn your natural laws. And nobody can feed you information at that point if you can learn all of the ins and outs of all three of those things. No one can feed you information that you have to take their word on it. You can verify the information on your own without without anybody's help.
And if you hear a word for the first time, look up the definition and learn the definition of that word. It has a purpose. Words have meaning, buddy.
We're just trying to get people to start critically thinking about information being fed to them because people say, trust the experts, trust the experts. Well, we're not going to be in a very good way if we live our lives like that because we're only going to digress. People are going to forget how to critically think
Exactly.
and process information on their own.
Exactly. If you want to learn something in life, you have to go out and do it. I don't care what it is, but you want to learn how.
Who's talking?
If you
I
want to
haven't
go out
heard
and
your voice.
Dude. Yeah, you have. He was talking to you when
I've been
QE
talking to
left.
you all night long. But anyway, the point is, you want to learn something, you want to learn to build a guitar, you got to go out and build one, man. It's not going to happen by accident. You got to check it out.
Hey, Flat Earth dude, what do you do for a living, buddy?
To build
Give him a
guitars,
little.
shit.
What do you do with pianos, man?
I build pianos, I build guitars, violins, cellos, whatever.
What's that called? What's your profession? What's your trade?
It's called a luthier. And if you
Do you know what a luthier?
if you live in France, it's called a luthier.
Do you know what a luthier is? Ty?
Well, by his little definition there, it sounds like just someone who makes Instruments.
What kind of instruments? It's a special kind of instrument. Did you hear what he said? What
Musical
kind?
instruments. Pianos,
Which one?
guitars.
What are those types called?
Musical instruments, like I said.
Well,
Stringed and
a drum is a musical instrument, right?
Yeah.
But a drum is not something that a luthier plays.
we're looking for stringed
That makes music with chords.
strings.
There you go, chords, strings, stringed
Strings.
instrument.
If it has a string on it, I can make it ring.
Yeah.
You see how special words are in that? Like that one word defines a person's entire experience. Which is really cool experience, by the way.
You're all philosophical on us tonight.
Me?
Yes.
Words have meaning.
I think I joined the party there.
You.
Well, I like teaching kids, and the fact that he is actually being honest with a lot of his answers. Not
I
all of
teach a
them,
kid.
but a lot of them.
I teach a kid on the daily. My son
Right.
knows how to speak Spanish. He already knows how to do like pretty complex math, and he's only 4 years old. So
Excuse me?
He's only
Yeah.
4.
He learns how to square two and square up.
He's also gonna know how to process information without my help or needing to tell him what to think or believe, because I've taught him. Yeah, I've taught him pattern recognition, and a lot of the things that he's learning, he's teaching himself because I gave him the tools to learn on his own.
Oh, you're not talking about me. I thought you called me a
No.
4-year-old.
No,
No,
son,
her 4-year-old.
my son is 4. I'm sorry. No, he knows.
Ah.
He knows how to
His name's
speak 2
Booger.
He can talk in 2 languages. He speaks 2 languages, and he also knows complex math.
And what's his name?
Booger.
Wait, his legal name is Booger?
No.
No.
What's his legal name?
I
Well,
don't feel like I should say that online.
Yeah.
Hey,
There's weird
Kim, if
people
he
out there.
knows complex maths, what's the square root of -1?
It's imaginary.
No.
Yeah, that's what it's an
Well, I have a
imaginary number.
headache. I'm getting kind of bored of this, so I guess I might see y'all tomorrow.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
Hey, before
Have
you
a good
go,
night. He
hey,
gone. He bounced. He bounced.
I was gonna say, if I threw you in the ocean, how long would it take you to grow gills?
It's been about 2 hours with him. We're good.
More than that. It was like 4 hours, 4 or 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I came in like an hour and a half ago. So
He was getting used to us bragging on him, and then I just put him to shame because my baby is only 4 and
we
it's
got.
way smarter than adults.
There was a couple other new people in here, man. I was checking the list.
Yeah. One of them was rude, burping in the microphone.
Andrew, man, that was wicked. And then he kept coming in and coming out. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, because he's been muted. He thinks if he goes out and comes back in, and the mute
Yeah,
will come
he
off.
was going in and out, in and out, in and out for like a minute or two. I don't know. Wasn't very long. I
don't think he to burp into the microphone. He's been
done
at
it.
work.
I've done it for sure. I apologize. I'll apologize if I do it again.
He didn't apologize though. He didn't apologize. He kind of like made a joke in the text
Yeah,
that we
that
were
was kinda weird.
overreacting. So
Yeah,
he lost
yeah.
the DC.
Sorry.
Hey, Flatsy, do you say that was being very philosophical? Like, I could just see that this kid was absorbing what we were telling him. Even though his mind was like on the globe.
Yeah.
You could tell he was learning, like there were things, and he's like, well, how do you explain this and how do you explain that? And that's usually the first sign of defeat. It's like, we've already defeated your side, so now you need an explanation to replace it.
Yeah, I don't think he was as I don't think he was as receptive as we're giving him the credit for, but he was by far the smartest glober I've ever heard on this live stream.
Yeah. He got
Yeah,
a
I can
taste of
prove it
both worlds
mathematically.
there with
Yeah.
Big Dog
Well, if
and
he didn't
Huey.
know, if he
Yeah,
didn't
me
know,
too.
he would say he didn't know, and that's
Yeah.
great.
It was pretty rare. Yeah, it was a rare occurrence. I love that. It was good. It was sad.
That was
Yeah,
cool.
it was
By
good.
the way, this is Andrew. I'm not really sure if you were talking about me that was coming in and out, burping in the microphone.
No,
No, it
you
was
weren't.
I don't.
no, that was
No,
Andrew.
his name was Average or something like that.
Average. I was average, not Andrew. Not Andrew. My bad. Fuck. My bad. I totally fucked that up. Sorry.
Yeah,
Oh, I
but I
thought you.
have been at work. I
That
just
was
got home.
I know.
No.
Yeah, you weren't here. It wasn't you, man. It was all caps. His name was all caps.
And I
Yeah,
have a theory about listening to that kid. I think he's either being coaxed by someone like his dad, who I think he said is a science teacher or something. Because I've
Yeah.
never met a 13-year-old kid that is able to speak like that. Or it's someone using like a voiceover or something. I don't know. There's something very suspicious about that.
I don't know. He seemed pretty natural, man. Oh, that
I thought it was
conversation was pretty natural.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't forced. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was joking with him. You know, I asked him about simple things like what's the radius, circumference, whatever. He didn't know any of that shit, and he admitted it straight away. That was kind of weird, man. It was like
There was
I don't know.
there was one comment that he had that kind of threw me off, and it made me think that he was being coached also. Was like, oh, well, if you take a picture and you scrunch it together, like that's a pretty advanced globe answer.
Oh, I definitely think he was being coached, but in like a I'm gonna let you do this on your own just to see what you've retained type of way.
Maybe.
I thought he was being coached as well, but it was just too natural, like Timbo said. It was the responses were too quick and natural for him to.
Nah, man, he got wrecked. Huey fucking wrecked that poor kid, man. I mean, he was completely tough. It wasn't even a fair fight, man. It wasn't like I'm like, no, this kid ran into Huey. Oh fuck.
Yeah, of all people.
Yeah, fucking. You just stepped into PhD class,
Okay, and then the other thing about it is he's 13 years old. He says who allows their kid to go on to like adult type of conversations on Discord?
Yeah.
Right?
Who knows?
There's
Who knows?
something strange.
Think for themselves. They've had to have been.
You
There's
guys
kids
are
out there though that like do things on their own.
conspiracy theorists, man. What the hell?
Yeah.
Why
But,
are you guys?
in
How's it
saying
going,
that-
guys?
In saying that, hey Ether, how
What's
are
up,
you,
Ether
mate?
Grass?
In saying that, like so Discord is used for gaming purposes most of the time.
Mhm.
So if he's a gamer, then he's in his room. They're gonna not know which channels he's gonna be joining.
Yeah,
Yeah,
kind of like
just
Twitch.
navigate everywhere.
Yeah.
Twitch is the same way.
Dude, his answers were so natural. That's the answers that we all fought against. They're like, wait a minute, what about this? What about that? I don't think any of that was unnatural. I don't know. You guys can vibe that.
Yeah. Well, so I could see. I was gonna say I could see him like being bored and be like, "Hey Alexa, what is this? Hey Alexa, what is this? What is
Who
this?
knows,
What
right?
is this?"
Yeah.
And like for a 13-year-old kid, like, I mean, y'all have seen the video, right, where the kid is sitting down at the kitchen table. Hey Alexa, what's 3 + 2? He's supposed to be doing his homework.
You could tell he was actually like his wheels were spinning, like he was actually thinking about the questions that were being asked, and
And
generally
when he got wrecked, man, he didn't like come back with like, "Oh, you guys are stupid" or something. No,
Yeah,
no,
you're
no,
an idiot.
He didn't do that. I mean, that's a usual response where you get,
he
well, you guys are just stupid. You guys don't understand. And like, well, no, it was great, man. I thought it was poor kid.
He knew. Quantum Eraser asked him though, "Hey, how do you what's the sum of the angles for a triangle?" And he knew. He's like, "Oh, I know that. It's 180." He knew.
Yeah, but
He was a smart kid.
He's in year
Yeah,
8
he
though.
should,
So you
he
learn.
probably should know that. But
Yeah, you learn that in grade 5. Yeah.
Yeah, but how many Glovers do you ask? What's the sum? What's the sum of the 3 angles for a triangle? And they're like, well, blah 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 blah.
It's
yeah, but that's not actually an honest. It's not a very hard question. I knew that when I was like 9 or something.
Yeah, but you're
Yeah,
honest, and you would say 180. A Glover would sit there and say, "Well, what are we doing? What are we talking about?" And they get all philosophical about the summation of three angles in a triangle.
They've got to
I'll tell
check
you what,
their
man.
ego, and they get caught up. They're not even thinking about the question. They're too
Excuse me.
busy trying to argue a point.
Hey,
Right.
I'll tell you what,
Well, if
man.
you get a triangle and you put it on a globe, then it's got spherical excess, so the it'll be greater than 180 degrees.
Yeah.
Oh, that whole point, yeah.
I'm gonna take some bets, man. Do you think he'll come back?
I know
No.
he'll come back. I know.
I'm
I think
down
he'll
with.
come back.
I'm down with 72% he'll come back. I don't know.
I
I
hope
think
he
he'll come
comes
back.
back with his dad.
There's something very, very suspicious about him because I've never heard any child say on.
I have,
I
Andrew.
couldn't listen to the entire thing.
I've been,
but
dude.
for
I've been
4 hours.
I've been in here, man, many nights, bro, with young, 15, 20-year-olds. They're all, they have a mindset, the Google mindset, I call it, and they can fucking know anything, and they don't know shit. And it's easy to expose them, and you can type shit into Google all day long and get answers, but we already know all the answers that Google puts out because we checked it out, and
Right, and normally, I would say if someone's going to be like he was like a savant in some sort of a way, or he was being coached. That's
No,
my suspicion.
I don't put it past country
Maybe
folk,
he's just a
man.
smart
Like
kid,
he
man.
said he lives on a farm, and his dad and him, the family owns a farm, runs a farm, or whatever. Like all those people do all day is work, and I give them credit, man. That they're smarter than what you think.
Maybe the
I'll give
poisoning's
them the
not so
credit.
strong out there.
Do what?
That's normal.
I said maybe the poisoning's not so strong out there. He was just a smart kid.
He could be, man.
Yep. He's just a little cock kid, man, that thought he's smarter than everybody because, he has Google. And
But
when
he admitted that his science in school sucked. He admitted that. And I asked him what his science
Anyway,
project was that he did, and he never did a science project. Eighth
he was
grade, never
fun.
did a science.
I don't know. I mean, I'd love to see him back in here. It would be a surprise to see him back in here, but maybe he'll come back tomorrow, man. I've seen guys do that, man. They'll just.
What is your profession? See, old friend, I brought more soldiers than you did.